Okay, so what we're going to do today, we'll be going over the local SEO audit process that we use in Norzer. It's a work in progress, and I'm looking to 100% optimize it, make it better. We got a bunch of people listening and watching. So if there's any questions, you can interrupt. That's totally fine. But I'm going to try to every 10 minutes or so say, are there any questions? We can handle it there. But if it's something you need answered away, definitely interrupt. So there's different kinds of SEO. Let me actually close this. There's local SEO, e-commerce SEO, general SEO. So if you're a blog or a news site, you have a set of processes you follow for doing SEO that way, search engine optimization. And anytime I say search engine optimization, keep in mind I'm also talking about, a lot of times, talking about optimizing for AI as well. Search engines, as we know it, are going away. What you're going to see in the coming probably year, or definitely two, is everything is going to look like a chatbot from a search point of view. So e-commerce SEO was obviously optimizing for e-commerce stores. My niche, my focus is local SEO. Local SEO means small businesses that have a brick and mortar location, like a physical building in that area. Okay. So first thing you want to do is you're going to copy the template, just file, make a copy, and you're going to put it in the customer folder, and then you're going to change it to the customer's name here. And we're going to do the same thing here. I just put the date. And a lot of these take on average maybe about 3 hours or so for me to go through them. It's going to take a lot longer explaining it. So the reason there might there's going to be things in here that don't really sound like an audit to you, that may just seem like information gathering, is because I take the results of all this stuff, and then I use this to put together the plan. So that's the next step. So this is an audit, but it's also like an information gathering exercise. Okay. So the first thing, explain proximity, relevance, and prominence. So these are the three core ranking factors from a local SEO, like meaning a local business, um, in Google. Now, it's going to apply to Bing, other search engines as well. It's all kind of the same thing. They all have their little differences. Proximity. So if you're our pizza shop and somebody 2 blocks away from you searches for pizza shop near me, you could have the most horrible website user experience. You could not be listed in any directories. You could have horrible ratings, and you're likely going to show up strictly because they're right next to you, right? So how close are they to the searcher? This is why it's crucial, if you're working with a small business, that they have a physical address. If they don't have a physical address, they're what's called a service area business, but I generally don't even take on clients that don't have a physical address, because you lose a third of the overall ranking factor. It's really, really hard to rank those. So if it's like a construction business and they work out of their home, you can't use a home address as a business address. It violates Google's terms of service. You can, but if they get caught, they're going to get suspended. So you can lay those risks out to the client, and if they accept those risks, understanding if they get suspended, it's not on you, it's on them. Maybe you want to do it. But if they say, we don't have a office, all we have is our home, and you just have to say we're trying to rank in Tampa Bay, not in like 123 Main Street, Tampa Bay, then you're gonna have a problem. You're setting yourself up for failure. So relevant. So how relevant is that website business to the query? So pizza shop near me is very relevant to a pizza shop close to you. It's somewhat relevant to a website, a business that serves pizza and hamburgers, but much more relevant to a pizza shop close to you, more so than pizza and hamburgers 10 miles away from you. And then prominence. A lot of people don't take this into account. How prominent are you on the web? So if I search for these algorithms, don't just look at your website to determine how much to trust your company. They look all. Here's my website for the company. I have a good YouTube channel, a pretty decent sized YouTube channel. I have a Facebook page. I have GPT bots that I've created. I have a profile in the admin bar. So it's looking at my entire, what I call, digital footprint. Here's another one. Let's do LA Dental Clinic, Los Angeles. You can see they have their web page, but what are they mentioned on the web? They got an Instagram channel, health grades. So on health grades, that's a directory for health professionals. So you want to make sure if you go here and they have a 1-star rating on these external directories, these are called citation sources, we need to immediately address that and let the client know, hey, you're on health grades, which is good. However, you have a 1-star review, you have a 1.3 review rating, and there's a bunch of reviews that don't have responses. So that's something that we need to take into. That's why presently now we're going through Mizak and Passetti in gathering information. It's called a citation audit, where they are listed all over the web, right? So that's something that needs to be done. So how prominent are you on the web, and what is the web saying about you, right? And so you have to build your digital footprint brand. This is way more important with AI than it was even 2 years ago with search, because we're in a generation now of just what's called AI slop, meaning all this content, this crappy content anybody can create. So how are these algorithms determining what's good and what's bad? A big thing it's looking at is brand. It's much more going to trust content or rank a website, somebody searching for buy shoes from Nike or Adidas, because those have big recognizable brands, than it is from Joe's Shoe Company that only has a website, it's not in any directories, doesn't have any trust signals, no reviews, nothing. So you really need to focus on brand. Okay, so here's the first part of the actual thing. 3 competitors. So we're going to go to the intake form, which they fill out by going here. So they go to norzer.me. All local SEO clients will come here and fill out the local client SEO intake form. If it's web design, they come here and fill it out, okay? So let me go. Actually, it's in the intake form. One of the things we ask them is, what is their competition? I didn't want to open it in Doc. I save it in Doc because that's what I upload. ChatGPT doesn't support Google Docs at this time, as far as I know. So I have to convert it to a Doc. Let's see if I can do this quicker. So this is for reference. So when you're doing all this, you can quickly reference their competitor sites. So what I'm looking for, and if they don't list them, I'll show you how to determine who their competitors are. It should be pretty obvious. Hold on. Right here. So, and I've talked to him on the phone multiple times. So the first thing we're going to do, and I didn't go through any of this before this session because I wanted it all to be, it's going to take a little more time, but I wanted to seem authentic. So we're going to copy paste that, and we're going to put that here. And we're going to take the second one, Tree Solutions of Texas. I misspelled it, I know, but it'll fix it. Okay. Put that here. And the third, Southeast Arbor Care, okay? Okay. Another thing I like to do is, he's in Deer Park, and we'll get to how I determine this. Deer Park Tree Removal Company. I'll look at that top. If the top ranking result isn't one that he mentioned, I'll take it. But you can see here, Deer Park Arborist. Let's see, actually, is that? Oh, their home. That's pretty shady. Their home, it goes to their Facebook page. Close this. Close this. Close this. Deer Park Art. You can see how their website is literally a Facebook page, and they're ranking high, largely because they got good reviews. But look at their, still a big ranking signal from local, for a local SEO point of view, is business name. And you can see their business name, Deer Park Art Specialist, is a really, whoops, is exactly what we're looking for. The geo, meaning the location keyword, and the arbor specialist, meaning, I guess that means tree, that's exactly what we're searching for. And then evergreen trees, whatever. So what we have is good. This one's a Facebook page, so I'm not going to worry about it. Okay, so we got that. So the next thing I do, we got these. And normally I would just keep 3 tabs open with these competitors, but because I'm kind of on a slow tab right now and I can already see it's going kind of slow, I'm not going to do it. And my laptop kind of hung up. Let's do this. Oh, let me pause it real quick. Okay, so Now that you kind of have this foundation built above this bar, what you need to now do is spend time, and I'm not going to spend too much time going through the client sites, but you definitely just need to go to the client site and look at it. Like, it doesn't look bad. One thing I know for sure, since I grew up in Houston, if you look at a map, this is a big mistake people make. It's going to be super hard. And you can ask AI like this stuff. Hold on. And you also need to review the intake form, obviously, right? Like, to understand what's going on. If you're working with a major city, like Houston, Los Angeles, Chicago, cities, even if you're overseas, you've probably heard of these big cities. You can go into AI and ask if it's a big city, whatever. What a lot of people that have a small business in Houston try to rank for, they might say, okay, let's rank for tree removal in Pasadena, tree removal in Pearland, tree removal in Fresno, Missouri City. I grew up actually down here. But even if I would ask where I'm from, I actually grew up right here in Seabrook. If somebody asked where I was from, I would say Houston, Texas, because I'm kind of in the, grew up in the suburbs of Houston, Texas. The problem is with a highly populated location like Houston, if it's a rural town, and it's like a population of 5,000, you can rank in surrounding cities. But with a very populated area like this, you don't want to rank in surrounding cities. You want to rank maybe in surrounding neighborhoods or surrounding locales. They might be cities, but not these big cities. And you can ask A, and we'll go over all this. So you can see Deer Park, whoops, and a rule of thumb is generally everything like in a 5 to 10 mile radius is what you're looking to rank for. So Deer Park is right here. So what we're talking about is Pasadena, Lomax. Never heard of Lomax, honestly. LaPorte, perhaps. Let's zoom in a little more. Red Bluff, Pasadena is a big one. Golden Acres. So the point is you don't want to Channelwood. You don't want to try to rank for Houston because there's no way. Let me zoom out and show you. Whoops. I think I'm zooming in. Let me zoom out. Here's one way to think about it. If somebody searches, this is Deer Park down here. Hopefully it draws in. Here we go. So down here. If somebody searches for tree removal near me and they live right here, how many tree removal companies are in this area? Probably 5 or 6, something like that. However, if you're trying to rank for Jersey Village, this from here is about an hour drive, hour and a half maybe, I don't remember exactly. There's probably 60 tree removals in between here and there. So going back to the original here, proximity, one leg of the three-legged stool for local SEO, you're never going to show up for anybody here because you're so far away. It doesn't make any sense. Now, if you lived like way up here in some city called Field Store or something, then there's like not a big population, then maybe you want to rank for Whitehall and big cities, not really localities, right? So his first problem he has on his website is Houston tree service experts. You don't want that. You want to say Deer Park tree service experts. It doesn't mean you can't go and take clients. Let me zoom back out. It doesn't mean if somebody calls Spring, Texas in North Houston, you can't take that job. This is strictly from a strategy point of view. In a year or two down the road, you might focus on, once you dominate this little area right here, where there's going to be plenty of business, then you can focus on expanding the radius out from 5 to 10 miles, maybe to like a 20-mile radius. Then 2 to 3 years down the road, then maybe you can go, instead of just Southeast Houston, maybe focus on South Houston. And if you dominate that, then you can maybe focus on all of Houston. So a lot of clients hear it and they're like, I don't know if I want to do that. What you have to let them know is, look, we can try to rank for Anderson, Texas up here, but there's only so many hours in the day, and there's only so many pages we can create with a certain budget. So do you want to spend it doing it on things that aren't going to make a difference and aren't really honing in on that very specific niche, which is how you rank local SEO? You have to be really niche. Or do you just want to waste time creating landing pages because ideally one day you want to rank in Washington, Texas? That's not to do it. Does that make sense? Good. I'll take that. Good. Okay, I'll take that. So first, now we're here. So what you need to do is create a ChatGPT project for your client. Now you want to put in this project the intake form. So this is giving context to like a personal assistant what this project, what this client's about, like all those QAs in the intake form. I also used, I said, go get the content from all pages on the website. And I did it as an agent. Put all of that, hold on one second. Let me turn my phone off. You guys can still hear me, right? Just say yes real quick. Okay, cool. So basically, I scraped the content and I put it in a doc and I uploaded it here. So all the content, even though it didn't do what ideal, I'm not going to get into it, but for this exercise, it's good enough. The intake form and content from the website is on here. So one of the first things I always do after I create the project is say, what is their USP and how would you improve it? So unique selling proposition, right? That's always what one of that's the core thing you should be focusing on when you're building out a website or doing local SEO, other than like all the SEO-ish stuff, the keywords. Right now, the SEO is implied but not clearly stated. It's a family-owned, people are working with family-owned companies with 20 years experience that does safe quality work, supporting signals, all this stuff. And here's saying nothing above is defensible or distinctive in the Houston area. What they actually have that's valuable, okay, we keep going. How would I improve it? Is a family-owned East Houston, so not Houston, East Houston. I would actually change that to Deer Park, and we may modify that later. With over 20 years of proven local experience, trusted for complex tree removals. That's really good. People like to see that. Imagine if you fell on your house and it's a 50-foot tree. That's probably pretty complex. So if you read on the website they handle complex tree removals, you're satisfying that intent. And storm response, where safety cleanup really actually matters. So that sounds really good. We specialize in high-risk removals, storm response, large scale. This is all good keyword topical information. So it says East Houston. We'll go, for this example, maybe we'll go with East Houston. Actually, I think I want to go with Deer Park. So anyway, so you got the USB, so you kind of get the idea. So you have that project. So all you do is just say, it's not really a pass-fail thing. You can say pass because you're done with it, right? So the next thing is I have this GPT I created. It's like the first custom GPT ever created. You want to here and say, explain their business in one sentence and give, I'm going to say park as geo. So when I say geo, I mean location. No, why we're getting this is because I'm feeding this into this next prompt. Okay, here we go. Doesn't have to be perfect. Now in this GPT, it's a local SEO service page builder for creating city service pages, and homepage content. But we're not really using it for that. What we're doing now, so you type it in here, is we're going to look through this, and based on what you've looked through here, let's see if they have land cleanup, storm cleanup, commercial, residential. The thing that seems like to me would make sense is they need a dedicated emergency page. When you think about what pages to create, think about what keywords people are typing in. So if you have tree removal, and somewhere in this page, you mentioned the word emergency. It may, I have no idea. Let's move this. You can't, let me move this little graphic that you guys can't see. Here, hold on one second. Okay. Okay, so there's no mention of emergency. If you want to see if emergency is mentioned anywhere on a website, you can just do this. I know I'm missing the T there. Site : domain emergency. Let's see if it's mentioned at all. This is going to search the entire site. So we have it in storm cleanup services, which is good. So it's in here somewhere. Okay, right here, emergency tree removal. But keep in mind, somebody's searching for emergency tree removal, Houston. If your mentioning of emergency is just one part of a broader page with a broader topic, you're not answering that query specific enough, right? So if that's a keyword that's getting a lot of volume and a lot of traffic, and there's ways we'll get into, I think we'll get into determining all that. if there's enough volume on a specific keyword, or when I say keyword, think of entity, topic, whatever, that needs to have a dedicated page. Because keep in mind, emergency tree removal, not Houston, let's say Deer Park. So that's pretty niche. Somebody in Deer Park, Texas, searching for emergency tree removal are a lot more likely to get a result from them if they have a dedicated page to emergency tree removal, but also even way more likely to get one that says emergency tree removal in Deer Park. So you can see where this is going. You need to have an emergency tree removal in Pasadena and all those other locations that we're going to try ranking for. Now, even more niche, if the competition is just insane, you could do emergency pecan tree removal in Deer Park, Texas, right? It just depends on how competitive it is. If it's super competitive, you have to get super niche to win those specific queries. The more specific you are, the higher the likelihood is you're going to rank, rather than it being you're not going to rank at all if it's very broad. Okay, so did we run this? So okay, so we gave a description to it, and we're going to run my SEO this prompt. And this is for building a website framework out. So all I'm looking for is based on what I've seen on their page, storm cleanup, land cleaning, then you get residential, blah, blah, blah. Is there anything that's being mentioned in its output that we're not covering? So emergency, so that's tree removal, tree trimming and pruning, stump grinding. Do they have a dedicated stump grinding page? I'm gonna go here, stump grinding. So what they don't have is emergency. I want to make a note over here. Emergency tree removal. I'm going to say geo pages, meaning Pasadena, Deer Park, LaPorte, Seabrook, all those dedicated pages we need to create. Okay, tree removal, separate messages for homeowners and businesses, each with short service. Okay, safety. And they do have testimonials, but I think we'd want to link those into Google Business Profile, not just paste them onto the website. 24/7 emergency hotline. So is that something we could add? So this is something I'm going to make a note and talk to the client about. Do they have a hotline? Okay, licenses and insurance badges. Are they displaying their licenses? Normally you just want to put that in the footer. No, so we're just going to add here licenses, badges. Are they in Better Business Bureau? And I also know from experience, Chamber of Commerce is the best one. We're going to get all this stuff later too. So optimize titles. Yeah, we'll get to all this. Meta descriptions, I'm not worried about that. Okay, so now we're going to look at keywords: emergency, deer park trimming, tree removal, tree service, tree pruning. Did they have pruning? They do have pruning. That's good. Okay. Commercial, affordable. That's a good keyword, possibly. Tree expert. So 24/7 licensed. So we have that written down. Tree maintenance. Okay, I'm going to ask, do they do maintenance? Do they do maintenance? If so, somebody might just be looking for somebody to come cut their trees every 6 months. I don't think they mention that. So that's something we could ask the customer. Do you offer a maintenance package? If so, we need to create that page out. Let me finish this and I'll stop, and if there's any questions we can take them. If not, we'll just keep rolling. I like family owned. I always use family owned when possible. People like working with people that are close to them and aren't, first of all, people in the same country, people that speak the same language, and and businesses that aren't giant corporations. That's just the way the brain works. So if they are family owned, I always emphasize that. Okay, so NLP, so this is like keywords, but it's from an entity, an AI relationship, an AI word that, like, for example, the words NYC, New York City, and Manhattan, the Big Apple. From a keyword point of view, those are all different words. From an AI, NLP, natural language processing point of view, those keywords, they're smart enough to understand those all mean the same thing. So let's see if anything sticks out. Commercial property, stump grinding, safety standards. That's interesting. Licensed and insured. Let's add safety standards. Something we want to highlight on the pages, perhaps. Okay, let's add this property maintenance. So that would go. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to format this, text it, wrapping, wrap. Whoops, I deleted it. Format, wrapping, wrap. Make it a little. The hell? Oh, I'm in the wrong one. Okay. Okay, top H1 ideas. So if you're building a web page out, this is kind of where you get some H1 ideas, free quotes, FAQs. I have a whole other process for FAQs now. Ngrams, so these are like words that belong together. Safety first, I'm not worried about that right now. Mid-journey prompts for images. This is what I really like to see here. What are some niche ideas and unique angles? So this is something if they, just because their website says what they do, that doesn't mean you want to totally just trust it. They may be doing other stuff that's not on the website or they haven't thought about. So this is perfect. Emergency risk, okay, tree and health maintenance guide, that's good stuff. Seasonal tree care, that's really good. So seasonal and eco-friendly disposable options. These are keywords people are searching on. So eco-friendly disposable, I can't spell, whatever, I don't care. Disposable options, and seasonal care tips for the Gulf Coast. Interesting. So that's something we could put on the maintenance page to draw, because you need to, it's even more important now with AI, is you have to establish to these algorithms that you are an expert in whatever you're selling. So if you're selling your lawyer services, you need to build up a ton of content around the fact that you're a lawyer, and if you focus on like personal injury, you need to have a lot of content and blog posts to back up that you are an expert in that topic, right? So the reason I'm putting this here is this is the possible blog post, right? And then on that seasonal care tips, and of course for an SEO point of view, if you try to rank seasonal care tips, you're not going to rank. But if you do seasonal care tips in Deer Park, you're much more likely to rank. Then on that blog post, of course, we would link out to the local tree removal page, whatever. Why licensed insured matters. That's a good post. We'll get back to all this though, because I have another prompt. We're going to get content ideas. Okay. Don't worry about that. Use schema. We're going to do that. Add reviews. Include call to actions. Optimize images. It's good. Internal link to other pages. Okay. So that's good. So we got some good data there. I'm just going to say fail. All that means is when I'm going through this, if I see the X in this column, it means it's something I need to actually hear, something to look at. And in that case, we'll just do that because we're done with that. Okay. Is there any questions? If so, that's fine. If not, that's totally fine. But is there any questions at this time? Okay. Anything, Tom or Jerry, or let's see if Sammy hopefully shows up. Good. Okay. Okay. So if you're trying to unmute me something and I can't hear you, just interrupt me and I'll stop. So the next one is another GPT called Brand Brain. All this is a cool GPT I came across, and it's just to give me good make sure I'm not missing something. You can sometimes get good ideas from it. So all you're going to do is type in the brand's name. Let me close. So the brand is Gabby's Tree Service, and it's going to do its magic, and it's going to give you a lot of information about what it thinks the brand is. It's also good at finding, sometimes it'll say, okay, this is what the brand is, and I've noticed there's a lot of one-star reviews on Yelp or something, right? So this is all good. So this is what at least ChatGPT thinks the brand is. So make sure this is all aligned with actually what they are. If not, you need to find out, and you can see where it's pulling from. See, this is coming from Yelp, right? So what they offer, okay, their team uses mobile wood chipper. Okay, that's interesting. Customers generally praise the company for professional knowledge crews, good communication, competitive pricing. That's something to probably highlight. Though the business is listed under Lafayette, Louisiana in databases. Okay, I'm in Lafayette, Louisiana right now, so it's probably bugging out and thinking that their business is in Lafayette. It's probably getting my location, so that's not true. Okay, I didn't get any good information there. Sometimes you will, so we'll just say that passed. The next thing we're going to do is compare IQ. Another useful GPT. Let me get a sip of coffee here. In this top part of the audit, the top 30% of it takes 80% of the time. So we're going to blow right through the last part. Okay, so enter our brand's URL. So we're going to enter. I thought I had it there. Gabby's. Oh, I got it right here, actually. Boom. Okay. Whoops. Let's try that again. And it's doing Louisiana. See, it's bugging out. It's thinking, yeah, okay, right. So it does this, dump grinding, all this stuff. They emphasize 20 years of experience. So I'd probably put that in the USP, even though it's already there. All the site lists long generic form that includes Louisiana and many states. I think it's bugging out. I don't think it lists that. They have pause reviews. Let me do that. And I'm going to explicitly tell it, because it's bugging out, that they're in Deer Park, Texas. Offering a wide range of the offering true mill. Okay, that's good. Experience, contact, that's right. Customer highly rated, positive reviews, professional, blah, blah, blah. Okay, looks good. Didn't find out anything there. So that's good. Now we go to Falcon, local Falcon. So I want to see, and you may not have access to this, so just have me do it. I'm working on a more of a group thing for us to use. This, depending on where you're searching from, you're going to show a completely different search result than somebody even 2 miles from you, right? So I just want to take maybe 2 to 3 keywords, and for this example, we'll just do one. And we'll do, first we need to locations, and I have access to their GBP. So we're going to, where's the connect button? Locations, connected accounts, probably here. So we're going to connect to their Google Business Profile. Whoop. Where's the import new location? No, we don't want to import, we want to connect. Wait a second. Locations. Okay, right here, add locations, import from Google account, get locations, and since I have access, oh, okay, yeah, I had it right the first time, to their GBP, it's going to show up here. So import this. So now this location has been added to my local Falcon. And we're going to put it in a whatever, doesn't really matter. We'll call it Gabby's. We're not organizing by location groups yet. So we could just do no thanks, but let's just throw it in there, whatever. Okay. Now we're just going to do a quick scan. We're going to select the location, and we're going to do, if somebody searches for the keyword tree removal, where are they showing up at? And this is more something you're going to do after you start the process. I just want to get an idea of how they're ranking. Now you can also get it from, while that's running, iSearchFrom.com. Or you could, if you're super lazy, you can just do tree removal service in incognito mode, Deer Park, Texas. But keep in mind, it's not, you're still not there. So it needs to understand like where you're at, right? You can see they're ranking number 2, so they're already ranking pretty good. But you can go to iSearchFrom, and you can say tree removal service. It may not let us do Deer Park. We're going to see country, United States, language, English, mobile, whatever. So city, this is where we're going to select. Oh, they actually just changed it to where you need a pro account now. Interesting. This was working as of 4 days ago. Let's see. Okay, so you can't do this unless you have a pro account now. Bummer. But you go here and it would simulate the search. And there's other services you can do this from, right? Just Google for search Google like I'm from another location. There's other ones. I would need to figure it out because I've used this one forever. And you can kind of see where they show in the search results. But this is going to give you what you need. So it's doing its little thing. So why that's happening, I hope I don't forget to come back to it. I'll actually show you what it looks like. You don't really need to see it. So if you go to, this is a client. Okay, it's real slow. So you can see here for this client, for the keyword, the search key car accident, when I first started working with them, they were showing up, you may not see this number, it says 20 plus. They were ranking 20 plus if the searcher was searching from this location, there were 17 here, 20 plus here. The next month, you can see we started to make some progress. Now you're ranking #1 if somebody searched right there from right here on the map. It's because all we did is optimize the GBP, right? Then you go to the next month, and you can see now we're 20 here for whatever reason for that keyword for car accident lawyer. But you're starting to see instead of all red, we're starting to see some yellow, and we backtracked a little bit, but that's okay. Now you're starting to see some orange, some yellow, and these reds are slowly turning into greens. So if you search from right here, from whatever the city is, Grandview Heights or something, Mizak, for the search term car accident lawyer, you would show 5th in the rankings. Now these metrics are not perfect. You run this report 10 minutes later and it can totally change on you, but it gives you a good something. You need some data to go by, right? And you go and look at this. This is exactly what happens. Right in about month 6, if you do consistent hard work, you start to get these results. Now this was way over optimistic and it started going back a little bit, which is fine. So that's something you need to explain to clients is you don't want to look at it month to month because you're going to backtrack for a couple months at a time. But if you're doing all the right things, it'll start going back up. So you can see we did totally good, then we backtracked a little bit, but you always got to point them back to a few months ago when they were doing nothing, right? So you can see, I'll lay this out for you, how a big mistake SEO people make is if numbers, visits, leads, traffic start going down, after like 2 weeks, they freak out and they start changing everything. They start redoing the site, and it's ridiculous. You're going to do way more harm than good. So this is Mizak and Passy. So you can see here, let's go back the last 16 months. I started working with them in February, or maybe March, whatever it was, like right here, right? So you can see here, these are clicks from Google search in blue. The purple is impressions, how many times they showed up in Google search, but they didn't necessarily get the clicks. The purple is always going to outpace the clicks unless there's like these anomalies like right here, right? So you can see here we were moving up. Now, if you were right here and zoomed in, from here to here look like a big gain. From here to here look like some movement, but you can see it's not that significant. It's just that it's way zoomed out. But you can see here we started making progress. This is what a good healthy growth chart looks like, right? You can do better, you can do worse, but as long as overall you're going in the right direction. You can see here back in August, so this is August 27th. Now let's go look. This is 2 months later, and look, we've been going down. I didn't change strategies up. I continue doing the same thing, and thank God I didn't change and waste all that time and confuse the algorithms even more because I knew what I was doing was right. I knew what I was doing works 95% of the time, and so as you can see, we started picking up pace again here in December. So you never want to react and change strategies up if the minimum amount of time you want to wait is 3 months. Because if I would have changed things up, I would have just totally screwed up what the algorithm thinks, because if you one day it thinks you're a tree cutter, then the next you change it up to, oh, now we need to focus on tree pruning, then you're a pruner, then 2 weeks later now you're a tree remover, and it just gets all confused. It needs time to figure this stuff out. Thankfully, and this is during AI taking over. Most clients' traffic are going down. So this is actually really good in this time frame. So you can see, stick to the plan and things are starting to really go up, right? Okay, so that's what that is. This isn't anything you're going to give to the client, but you just want to kind of see where they're ranking in that map. So next thing is get a topical map. A topical map is basically, and I got a really good prompt for this, that helps you build out content to become an established authority in that topic. So if you're a lawyer, you know, like all these law topics, like how to file a case in Cleveland, Ohio, if you're in Cleveland, Ohio, and in that location. It's not enough. You don't want to write a topic for a lawyer in Cleveland that says how to create a will. Look at this. Rank this. There's extensions you can use that show you the domain authority of these like domains. You're never going to outrank trustandwill.com. You're never going to outrank legalshow.com. You're never going to outrank legalzoom.com. These websites, well, first of all, this is just like a super good domain, trustandwill.com, because domain does matter and affects search rankings. But you're never going to outrank these big boys because you're not a big boy. They have a dedicated staff of marketing professionals, so you need to get niche with it. So how to create a will in Cleveland, or even let's go like a suburb of Cleveland in Parma, Ohio, or how to create a will for a child. And it's horrible to say. I wish I wouldn't even say that out loud. But the point is, the more niche you get, the easier it's going to be to rank for. Right? There's a lot less traffic on that, but at the beginning, all you want to do is dominate these super niche topics. So how do you come up with those topics? Enter this prompt. So what we're going to do, copy it, go to their ChatGPT project. Hold on, let me see something. Okay. We've been going about 40 minutes, so it's going to be longer than 2 hours, guys, but are you guys cool? Can we go another 20 minutes without a break? Is that okay? If not, let me know and we'll take a break. Okay. Yep. John, break, let me know. Okay. So let's click away just to make sure we get a fresh prompt, and then we'll come back here. Go back to the client prompt. So how do you get these content ideas? You can come up with them all on your own, right? But the way we used to do is we used to go to other clients' websites and see what they're writing about. You can use tools to see what, like, just let me show you a quick example. A tool I use it less and less because I'm using AI more and more, is Cleveland lawyer. Let's find a lawyer. We're going to take their domain. So this is, you can go here, and you guys have access to this tool here. If you don't have the user ID, let me know. This is how it used to be done. And it's still, if you really want to get the accurate information, like 100% to make sure you're covering it all. Wait, what the hell? Zero traffic, zero volume. Okay, hold on. Let me get one. That's not good. But now instead of having to gather all this information, I really just rely on AI. Let's see if, okay, let's do page traffic. So it's going to analyze the domain. It may be bugging out right now. So this domain, its top pages based on traffic with the data that it has is the about page, the personal injury page, the DUI. Okay, so we would want a DUI page, obviously. Firearm offense lawyer. Okay, so we'd want to create a firearm page, whatever. But it doesn't really matter these days because you can't just copy the top ranking content, because remember, you need to establish brand dominance or topical dominance. So you have to create, you might use that list as a starting point for the first 5 to 10 pages you're going to create, but you have to create topics for all of these what's called pillars, right? So let's take their prompt. I think I copied it. We'll go back here and we will paste it. And since you're in the project for that client, you really don't have to fill this stuff in, but I'm going to do it anyway. Now it's important we go look at their Google Business Profile categories, because we want, let me do this. Gabby's thing that's super important is whatever your GBP says, your Google Business Profile, the Google Business Directory says, you need to make sure you're synchronizing that with what's on the website. So in GBP, if you say Gabby's tree service is a or where's it at? Category is a tree service, then we need to make sure on the website obviously it's a tree service. So for example, let's look at me. Let's do LA Dental Clinic. And we're just really now starting to do the SEO work for LA Dental Clinic. So it's gonna not be on point. So you can have one primary category, then you have these others. So if you say in GBP you're a periodontist, but you don't mention that anywhere on your website, not only are you not going to rank for it, you're devaluing whether Google trusts that your website is really accurate information, or any algorithm. If it says one thing here but another thing on your website, or vice versa, or one thing on Yelp and another thing on your website, these algorithms, one of the things that they look at is, can I trust the result I'm giving is accurate? If they all say different things, like a different phone number, a different business category, a different business name, all this other stuff, then even if the website's totally optimized, if all of these pages and directories are showing conflicting information, you're lessening its confidence that it's giving an accurate result. So for Gabby's, the category was tree service. Let's go back. And we're going to give this in a lot more detail. We're going to go here. So if there was a multiple, you would paste them all here. See, these are examples. Okay, then you're a cutting content strategist, and basically just go find all these. You can read through this, guys, to understand what it's doing. It's going to come up with listicle content. AI algorithms love listicles, so like bullet pointed lists, it's important to use. So we're going to click go. We're not going to do deep research because it would take forever. I don't even think I use deep research on this prompt. I use so many prompts I can't remember honestly. So is a full end-to-end authority blueprint designed to make Gabby's Tree Service the dominant tree entity in Deer Park, Texas, and the East Houston corridor. Interesting. So that's the word they're using, corridor, across Google Search, Google Business Profile, and AI Answers. So the primary entity. So part one, geo-authentic local topical map. So these would be blog posts. Emergency tree removal in Deer Park, Texas. Deer Park after Gulf Coast storm. So write a blog post on that. This is good, but this is like, I would ask a question. You always want to put it in question format or something. Is like, what's the best emergency tree removal in Deer Park, Texas after a Gulf Coast storm? It's very keyword dense, and it's all people. AI likes the titles being literal questions, so you kind of use your brain a little bit. Tree trimming law. So writing about the laws, the tree trimming laws. Are there laws and zoning ordinances in this location? How much does tree removal cost? That obviously makes sense. Stump grinding for small yards in Pasadena and Deer Park. So not just a blog content on stump grinding in small yards. Or first of all, very broad would be stump grinding. Even more niche would be stump grinding in yards. Even more niche than that would be stump grinding in small yards. Even more niche than that would be stump grinding for small yards in Pasadena and Deer Park. That's the level of niche you need to get to. Okay. So these are good content ideas. Us versus them. You love doing us, like how am I versus my competitor? Gabby's Tree Service versus Monster Tree Service, because you're going to start building in that, you're going to start getting some of that traffic for when somebody searches for Monster Tree Service. You now have that keyword on your website, so you're now going to start taking some traffic from actual competitor search query. Why Deer Park homeowners choose Gabby's Tree Service over Monster, blah blah blah, right? High intent deal breaker questions. Does Monster Tree Service right? So does Monster Tree Service of Gulf Coast, Texas subcontract local crews? So if you do not subcontract out, but you know your competitor does, that's something you want to highlight. You may not need a dedicated blog post to this, but it would be something you just kind of use your brain and put it up here in these us versus them things, right? So these are the deal breaker questions. And it's not only just this, you use your head and go other competitor here, right? List of content. Top 7 free tree services in Deer Park, Texas. So if you do this, And you can see it if you do deep research, you can see where it's going. Top 5 tree removal companies in Deer Park, Texas. Top 5 tree removal tree removal company in Deer Park, Texas. Okay. How does it determine it, right? All it's doing behind the scenes, it has its own internal database, of course, but it's going out and doing actual searches, right? So you see it went to Yelp, right? So let's see if they get listed. So they're not listed. So we have an opportunity to help here. So where is it going to get this stuff? So you can use this, what do they call it? In Bookmartlet, and you can see here it's searching for this. Top rated tree removal company. This is actually what it's searching for. And you can see the sites. It went to betterbusinessbureau.org. It went to Angie.com, and it actually went to websites of companies themselves. So what this tells me is, and we're going to get this in a future prompt, we need to make sure we're on the Better Business Bureau website, and we need to make sure we're on Angie.com, which they probably aren't, because this is where AI is going to find out what the top tree rated services companies are. I also saw it went to Yelp, and it's not even listed here, so it's imperfect. But to find this out is to do it a deep research. And in deep research, you can see where it's going to get all this stuff, right? So top tree removal. You can just do this, companies in Deer Park. You can see Monster Tree Services, Tree Solutions of Texas. You can see Yelp, right? A huge directory, Angie's List, right? So it actually searched, and these results should look familiar. So we'd go here and see if they're in here, which they probably aren't. If they're not, if they are, they don't have a good ranking. Let me get a sip of coffee here real quick. See. So obviously, they're not here. So this is a easy win for us to start showing up in AI, right? And I'm not going to make a note of it because we're going to get to this later. So where was I? Okay, topical map. So you take this topical map, whoops, here. Let's keep going. So now these are you want to not just you have to build up topical clusters. So basically a major cluster from a keyword entity relationship point of view that this algorithm thinks is the topic of tree removal and safety. In the pillar content pages you could build up related to this bigger topic are these specific topics. Emergency tree removal after storms, tree removal cost breakdown. So do you want a full post on tree removal cost breakdown? I don't know. It depends. Probably not, but maybe that's actually might be a good topic. But you could just maybe create this one post with these sections in it. And this is AI, ChatGPT's algorithm. If you run this through Gemini, you're going to kind of a different set of results. But if you spend time doing this, no matter what tool you're using, you're going to be 95% ahead of your competition, unless it's like a lawyer in Chicago, New York, or whatever that has like a team of dedicated to this stuff. So storm and emergency preparedness is the second cluster. Tree trimming and pruning and arbor care. Obviously, it's not. You wouldn't focus on this. You would do tree trimming and pruning and arbor care in Deer Park, Texas. Remember, it's always the keyword and the geo. Keyword and the geo. Commercial and land cleaning. So these are keyword variations. Hurricane tree removal. Okay, get more information there. Bonus, and I always like to ask AI to give me ideas and strategies. Most of my prompts, you'll see at the end, it always asks for unique ideas and niche strategies, because then I can add this as things we could work on going forward. Storm season emergency landing pages. Okay, that's actually good. Seasonal. We have it seasonal already covered in our notes. Tree removal cost calculator. Okay, that's interesting. Before and after cleanup proof pages. Okay, so let's do this. Cleanup calc for after gallery, and I think that's actually would be coming in at a different step, but let's go ahead and put that down. Okay, PPC. Do they want to do PPC, meaning ads? So let's ask them. You know, you have to assume that the clients don't know what they're talking about. I hate to say that, but you do, because they may not even know they want to do ads, and you may never do ads for them simply because you never asked them. right? But if you can explain it to them, if you could say, look, if you could give me $500 a month and I could provide you with $700 of business per month, would it be worth it to you? That's how you have to frame it. You don't want to say ads cost $1,000 per month and then just leave it there, because that sounds like a lot of money, and it is a lot of money. But if they're spending 1,000 and they're getting back 1,001, even though it's $1, it's worth it because they're getting that brand exposure too, right? It's not that simple, but just a lot of times it's just frame it. So HOA and commercial outreach pages. Okay, that's interesting. So housing association. So let's write this down in commercial. So this means like partnering with other local companies, I think. So we delve into that. Okay, so we got that. Um, Now this is just, keep this open, and I should put this all in one prompt. There's another link page. So if you want to get people a mailing list or something like that, people aren't naturally going to sign up for a mailing list, but if you offer something valuable to them, it's going to increase those odds. So, oh, I actually have it here. I should paste the actual prompt. We're about an hour in, so after a couple more items, we'll take a break. So we're going to generate link bait ideas. So these are ideas that can get people onto a mailing list, and also hopefully people will link to stuff, the things that people link to. And from an SEO point of view, links are super important because it shows the algorithms that your website's actually valuable, right? So click start. So your business niche is tree. Let's go back here and say explain business, explain the business in one sentence again. Let's grab that little wording that it has. I'm going to take this and feed it into this prompt. And it's going to give us all kinds of little fun ideas, right? The most common tree species in East Houston by neighborhood. I can see people sharing that on Reddit. I can see people like signing up to an email list to get that. We ask 500 East Houston homeowners what tree they'd save in a storm, and the results will surprise you. That's a really good headline from an emotional point of view. So you take these, hurricane season tree risk calculator. That's something with AI. This could be super easy to build out. You can code all this super easy. Deer Park's greenest streets. So you might think, well, what does this have to do with like tree removal? It's not only about being an expert or an authority in that topic. It's about being an expert in that geography as well. So it's Deer Park, right? The ultimate guide. People love ultimate guides. And then we got more growth strategies here. So I'm going to read through this later. For the time being, and anytime you share something with a client, you always need to put the branding on it, our branding on it. Okay. So first thing I forgot to copy was, let's see, these here. So this is the content we would just start building out. And 3 years ago, this would take a ton of time. It still takes a ton of time, but a lot of resource, and you'd have to hire somebody. Now AI can really help you build it out. And it's not just building the content, you have to build it out in a certain way. So we got that, and now we're going to add the linked ideas here. And as I said, I think we're near a breaking point. Always add branding. Super important. From a human point of view, and also algorithms are going to see all this stuff too. You got to keep that in mind. Okay, I'm gonna copy all and say, I have this. Now I need an intro, blurb, and title for this content, and just paste it all in. Don't worry about formatting. So because if you give this to the client out of context, they're not going to have any idea what it is, right? You want to make sure, whoops. So this is Arial 11. First of all, let's center this. And then we're going to change this to Arial 11, which I think it is. Okay, I'm going to read over it, make sure it sounds okay. Get rid of intro blur. Obviously, you don't want them to read that. Okay, so that's pretty good. And then you save it, topical map, Gabby's, and put it in the client folder. Where are we at, Gabby's? Where are we at? We're at here. Well, I should have gone back there. Clients, Gabby's. Oh, there we go. Reference, move, and then so you don't have to go back and find it later. Copy. Just put it here. Okay. Okay, we're going to skip the click-through analysis. I'm still working on that prompt, but you can see it's in the prompt. It looks at Google Search Console data, and it still need to improve it, but it can give you some easy wins. So this is just saying monthly. So this is in the report. You're going to say find keywords in positions 11 through 20. So if you go to like SEMrush or Ahrefs, I'm not going to go to it. Any keywords that are ranking 1 through 10, they're doing pretty good on pages results 1 through 10. But if they're ranking 11 through 20, that means they're on the map of these algorithms, but they could use a bump to try to get them into the top 10. So try to figure out why they're not in the top 10 and see if we can move those up. So that's all that means. This is a reminder for me to add that to the monthly plan. And you could get some ideas now if you wanted to by going to Ahrefs or whatever. You can do this for now. Okay, so we're going to Google Business Profile. I think that's a good stopping point. Does anybody need a break or have any questions, or can we do a check-in and make sure everybody's here and it is coherent? Say, hey, Dylan, are you here? Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I'll go through one by one. Dylan, you need a break. What, 10 minutes? Is that okay? Okay. Jerry, Sammy, good? Or Jerry, Tom, need a break? Is your mind spinning? Okay, you're on mute. That's cool. I got it. Yeah, Sammy, go ahead, Sammy. Yo. Okay, it's being recorded, so you can go back and watch it. But how about we take a 10-minute break? We'll be back at 11:50. Is that cool? And we'll answer some questions if we do. Then we'll start back. Is that good with everybody? Okay. All right. I'm gonna stay here. I'm gonna go get a cup of coffee. I'm gonna pause the recording now, and then we'll join back up in 10 minutes. So right about at 11:50. So all right, cool. Okay, so we're back. So the next section is Google Business Profile. Obviously, Google Business Profile is the main business directory on the internet as we're speaking. There's other directories, Yahoo Local, Bing Places, is that what it's called? Bing Maps, whatever the hell it's called. What most 2 years ago, this was like the de facto place to be, Google Business Profile. And it still is the place to be. However, keep in mind, AI sees Google Business Profile as just one place. So if you search for dentists near me, it's no longer just Google. So if you do dentist near me, the top results you see here, this is coming from Google Maps, which is coming from Google Business Profile. So this is called the map pack or the 3-pack or the snack pack. You'll hear different terms. You're starting to see Sometimes they'll put 4 people in there. Usually you see 3. I've seen them testing out some, Google's always testing things out, okay? But you can see if they're showing 3, it's really good if you move from 20 to place 4 or 5, but if you're not in the top 3, you might as well be like number 17 or something. Most people look at the top 3 and they don't click through to more places. So the goal should to be in the top 3. Now, if I search this right now and I see Sola Dental is number 1, if I search this an hour from now, Sola Dental could be number 2, 3, or it could be even off. So all we need, you're not always going to be number 1, no matter how good you do. There's going to be times that you drop to 2, 3, sometimes even maybe 4, 5, or 6. But as long as the trend's going in the right direction, we want to see more consistently. If you go from 20 to 10 to 8 to 3, and then if you stay in the top 3, that's the overall goal. Okay. So this is Google Business Profile. So how you configure it is you just go to business.google.com and you'll see all these and if you don't have anything, you'll see nothing, but you can see all of the locations in here. Okay. So this is what we need to audit from a Google Business Profile perspective. Oh, what I meant to say is ChatGPT just looks at Google Business Profile. I don't know the weight it gives it, but it's just another directory. It also looks at Yelp, like I showed you. It looks at Angie, as I showed you. So you need to make sure more so than ever, citations kind of a lot, citations meaning business directories, were very, very popular in SEO years and years ago, and they kind of fell off the map. But they're more and more important now because of AI, because AI uses that to determine AI results. Now, you don't need to be in every, if you search for something, if there's a directory called like usabiz101.com that nobody goes to, you don't really need to spend time getting in these crazy directories. It's just not worth your time doing it. Now, the way to determine if it's worth your time, now there's some benefit, I think, but does this website ever show up in Google search results? It's a good rule of thumb. If it doesn't, you'll get a little benefit from being in these really obscure directories, and they are backlinks, so they're going to help to some degree. Let me say it this way. Spend most of your time getting yourself in directories that actually rank in Google. Better Business Bureau, Chamber of Commerce, Yelp, Angie's List. If it's a lawyer has specific directories. House cleaners have specific directories, and we're going to get into all that. But this is specifically for the Google Business Profile directory. So is there only one GBP entry? So all you do, why this is in here is one time I was working with a client, and I found out later down the road they had like multiple Google Business Profile entries. And that's not good because it's one business. So that's really confusing things. So just come here, scan. Is there only one? Do you see multiple? No, you can even go to maps and search. I know for a fact they only have one, so this passed. Does each practitioner have its own profile? For a tree removal company, this doesn't matter. Where this matters is if it's a lawyer or a law firm. In many cases, you want to have a GBP entry, and we can get into more details on this another time, why you would do it and why not you would do it. An entry for the firm, but also for each individual lawyer. So I'm just going to say no, not applicable here. Spammy competitor listings. You're going to spend a lot of time doing this. Let me go here, and I'll show you why. A way to kind of a cheat code is to stuff your keywords in the business name or use an address like at a post office or something. Because as I said earlier, having an address really gives you a perk, really gives you a benefit in search results. Also is having your keywords, your geo, and your service in your business name. Going to help you. That's really going to give you a perk from a ranking point of view. So let me go here. I'm actually doing a couple audits right now for this. So if somebody is getting that extra ranking benefit by using a fake address or a home address or a post office or something, you don't want them to get that extra ranking benefit, right? Why should they get it? So of these top 10 results that I did, so I searched for, so this is a house cleaning company in Naples. I went to maps. Stop. I think my computer's thrashing. Why is this slow? Okay. And all you do is search for what you're trying to rank for. So not letting me click. Hold on one second. House cleaner, Naples. I should do Naples, Florida, because Naples, Italy is a big city. So I just went and looked at the top, everybody ranking above him or like the top 10 results. You can spend an indefinite amount of time going and looking all of them, right? But you don't want to waste all this time. So Molly made of this, Clean Florida, Gigi Clean, made Naples Pro. And are they using a real address? So you can see I looked at Clean Florida. So let's go to Clean Florida. And I get the address. Let's let it load first. And all you do is do Google Maps and go to Street View, and you can see what's at that address. And based on this, I could see that we're not going to wait for it to load. It's a storage facility. So that's something I need to tell the client to go by and verify and see if there's any signage out for that being a real business, right? So he's in the process of going out to these ones I've noted and making sure that these addresses are real. The only one of the top 10, this shows you how critical this is, of the top 10 ranking ones, Gigi Clean was the only one that was being honest about everything. So you can see here, Beyond Net Cleaning Service, they're Beyond Neat. Their real name is Beyond Neat. They put cleaning service in to get that SEO benefit. Surprisingly, keywords in the business name in Google Business Profile business name are still a huge ranking factor. A lot of times you'll see stuff like this, best the Joes, and they'll do like best house cleaner in Naples, Florida, right? You don't want to allow them to have these extra keywords in there. So you go and correct it. And the way you go to correct it is you go down here and suggest and edit, but you first need to get proof, like whether it's a screenshot on Google Street View or an image from the client showing that they don't exist at that address, or if the business name is fake, go to their website and show what they're showing their business is on the website and paste that as proof when you submit the change. Then you need to set a reminder to check these monthly or whatever. So that's what that means. So let's go ahead and do it. We're not going to, it takes you about an hour to go through it all. So let's see if we can eyeball a couple. Let's do tree removal company, Deer Park. Let's see if there's any obvious ones. I haven't done this yet. Like I said, I actually wanted to go through this authentically. Deer Park Arbor Specialist, Evergreen Tree Service, Gabby's Tree Service. Okay, these names look legit. Of course, I would go back and verify. Go to their website. Right here. High Point Tree Care, Tree Service and Removal, Pasadena, Texas. This obviously is not their name. You can verify that by going to their website. I would go and correct it to just say it's only High Point Tree Care. And it might just be called High Point. You verify that by going to their website. Let's actually go to their website, see what they list themselves as. See, they got it pretty well SEO optimized here. High Point Tree Care. So obviously it's not High Point Tree Care, Tree Service and Tree Removal Pasadena. So we report them, make sure they get that removed. Let's just do the top result. Let's see if anything sticks out. Monster Tree Service of Texas Gulf Coast. This is kind of a tricky one because it's a franchise. If you go to their website, it's going to say Monster Tree Service of, it's just going to say new service. They're adding the other one because this is a local franchise. I still would report them and just say it's called Monster Tree Service because the website doesn't show that it's Monster Tree Service of Texas Gulf Coast. I also would have the client drive by there. Let's look at the address and see what it says on the signage. It looks like it's actually, this might be going to a house. Let's see. And they're getting a huge ranking benefit from having an address. So if it's a house, and we're about to find out, looks house to me. So we're going to report them immediately, and they're going to lose that benefit of having a physical address because they are at a house. They should be a service area business, right? So go through those one by one, use the spreadsheet, and go through them. Verify. Are they verified, right? If not, you'll see a little error saying you need to verify. So I'm going to say this is not. I'm going to say do this later. So it sticks out to me. I'm going to make it red. Is there any errors? This made more sense a while back when there was like a different dashboard. But all you need to do for this, okay, I got a message. See, make sure nobody's. I don't think somebody's trying to say something. Okay, general team. Manning room. It took a while for my brain to register that. We are all. So you go here and click on profile and just see if there's any weird messages you're getting, like any strange things. I haven't seen any in a while. You also need to go to here, look up through here, go to business profile settings. There might be weird messages here. It says complete info, but the profile strength, it's going to say you need to like run ads, or okay, in this case you want to add a photo of the front, which you need to do, but this is covered in future steps to complete the profile. And of course you can always go to business.google.com, look at locations, and see if there's any weird messages here. By the way, if you click here, this button, that's going to take you right to where we were before, to the GPP profile panel. Okay, so that's that. So errors look good. Categories. So this is a big part. Many businesses aren't using the proper categories. How do you know what categories to use? It's not hard. All you do is install, there's many extensions you can use. I think the one I use is GMB Crush, GMB I don't know if this is coming from Crush or Everywhere. Let's do this. You go to maps.google.com, and what are they ranking on? They're ranking on tree removal company, Deer Park. Tree removal company, Deer Park. I also like to go to in big metro areas. I would do tree removal company Chicago, New York, and Los Angeles, because these businesses in those highly competitive markets have spent a lot of money optimizing this stuff. But based on the extension, and I think it's coming from GMB Crush, it could be Everywhere. GMB Everywhere, because Google Business Profile used to be called Google My Business. So just go download this extension. And this is coming over here, and I'll explain what this is. This is coming from Plepper, P-L-E-P-E-R. It's another extension you need to download. So of these top results for the search tree removal company, let's get rid of this. These are the categories these people are using. Tree service, arborist service. That's interesting. So I need to clarify with him, is he an arborist service too? Does he do, I don't know why that popped up. Let me make sure I'm on Do Not Disturb still. Hold on one second. I am, so some things are just popping up. Okay. Does he do landscaping? I don't think he does, but these are other categories you could possibly use. Debris removal service, I think he does do that. But the one he might be his arborist service. The way you can see it, so this is coming from Plepper. You can also see review information, all kinds of other stuff. You can look over here, and GMB Everywhere is going to put, if I didn't have this GMB Everywhere extension installed, you wouldn't see this category tree service here, right? So Holland, this is sponsored, so ignore this one. Holland's Tree Care, well, that's the same one, is tree service. That's what we are, so that's good. This one is tree service, arborist service, evacuating contractor, logging contractor. Interesting. I think that's a misidentified category, but I'll let them lose the rank for it. So those that stand out to me are, so again, over here are all the categories coming from these top ranking results. So, screenshot this. This prompt just helps you locate other categories. You don't have to, you can do it the way I'm doing it. Let me paste this here, and I'm just gonna ask. So I'm gonna ask him if any of these fit. That's a note for me. I think it's just gonna be tree service, maybe arborist service. I don't even know what arbor it is. I see the word over again. I don't know what it means, honestly. Okay, business info with geo. So all this means is I don't believe what's in your Google Business Profile description is a ranking factor. I get some people say it is, some people say it isn't. I don't really care. If Google gives me, I think it's 700 characters to describe my business, where is it at? Hold on. Like, so right now his description is just this. So you can see it gives you 750 characters, and I would say, okay, this is the current. That's like a horrible description, but it may not help you rank higher, but whatever you put in there at a minimum is going to give context to the algorithms about what your business is. So the easy way is saying, okay, we need a GBP description up to 750 characters. Now, AI has a horrible time estimating characters because it uses tokens, like token windows, I think is the word. It doesn't use characters, so a lot of times it's going to be a little too long. Say local SEO optimized to attract new leads. You always need to be very intentional with it and tell it that you want it local SEO optimized and what you're trying to accomplish with it. So look, it's going to highlight the USP, family-owned tree service, over the 20 years hands-on experience serving homeowners, businesses. Okay, this looks pretty good. I'm going to go back and review all this when I can focus more. So do character counter until AI gets better with characters. I think Claude does a better job, so you could go over there if you wanted to. 674, that's good enough. If Google gives me 750, I would say I want to do at least 650, so that's enough. I might go back and change it later. But let's actually make sure it has a location. It serves homeowners and businesses. They're two core competencies. Tree removal, tree pruning. Okay, that's good. Local crews have. Okay, this is all actually really good. You know, from what I can see right now, why I'm not able to focus that much. Paste this in here. And of course, you get approval. And I'll get all the approval later. Okay. So I'm going to say, let's just move this out of the way. Okay. Actually, this is what I'm going to do. Give me these categories in a comma separated list. This way I can document it better, more cleanly on the spreadsheet without it interfering with other steps. Okay. Okay. Okay, so we'll get back to that. Business info, say updated ask client. So we'll get back to the note to me. Normally I would do it right now. I would just jump to the Discord and ask them. So every client has their own dedicated Discord, so right? So, right, that's how you communicate with them. Whoops. Okay, business name, not spammy, are duplicates. So what this means, are they spamming their business name? So is their business name Gabby's Tree Service dash the best tree removal company in Deer Park or something? They're not, so we're good. This is the actual business name. Now, if they don't have, it actually has tree service, tree, the keyword tree, in their business name, I would suggest to him to file a DBA with the local government, you know, like a business registration form, doing business as, and change their name just to possibly, this is something we need to talk about, because keep in mind, whatever the business name is here, it needs to be the same on Yelp, like right here. So then we'd have to update Yelp, we'd have to update MapQuest, all these other things. So it's not something you want to haphazardly do without thinking about it. But if it makes sense, sometimes, especially if it's a new company and they're not listed anywhere, you would say it would make more sense if you could make your company Gabby's Tree Service of Deer Park. And then the main thing you got to do, you got to get like letterhead. But the main thing you got to do is we would just redo this logo and say Gabby's Tree Service of Deer Park. So that's something I talked to him about. We're going to discuss it further. Maybe add geo. So that's something I'm going to talk to him about. I don't think we're going to do it because he's already in other directories. And that would just complicate things because it goes back to how confident are these algorithms are that they're giving a valid response. If one directory says Gabby's Tree Service, another says Gabby's Tree Service of Deer Park, another one says Gabby's Tree Service of Houston, it's all confusing, right? Okay, address, no duplicate. So take the address and make sure there's no other business at this address. And I think in their case it is, because if you look at there, let me show you. So they're actually they have a listing that's likely violating Google's TOS. I tell them the risk and rewards of doing it, and I just let them do it until they get busted. I told them what could happen, but you can see this at this address is actually this, what is it, a nail company or something right here. What he explained to me is what they do is their address is they station their trucks and stuff over here in this parking lot, and they pay this person to use their address. So the suggestion, see, it's a tanning company. My suggestion would instead of using this exact same address, because you don't want Google and these algorithms to see the same business at each address, give it like a unit number or something, or like number 2. So I'd say suggest using office 2 or something like that. That's something I need to talk to him about. Phone number. Again, make sure no other business is using their phone number. Where you'll see this a lot is, hold on a second, Gabby's. You don't want many businesses claiming to have the same phone number, because you can imagine that's confusing, not to humans, but much more so to algorithms. So it could be Gabby, they may have had a different business name in the past. They may have been called John's Tree Service, but and that web phone number is still listed to that old business name. So all you do is take the phone number, and there's a million ways you could search it. The quickest way is this. Whoops. And make sure I got it right. Gabby's, okay, Gabby's Tree Service, this is all good. Gabby's Tree Service, Gabby's Service LLC. So that seems kind of irrelevant, but we want to get this cleaned up. If possible, we want to get rid of LLC and just keep it consistent. But at least it says Gabby's Tree Service. It's not like Joe's, tree removal company or something. So this is the owner's name, I guess. I need to go through 30 different pages. You start to see it kind of fades into like weird stuff. And that's when you know you've looked enough. I normally go through about 5 pages. So I'm going to go back and look over this in more detail. But so far, that looks good. I'm just going to say double check. Okay, our competitor is using fake address. So that goes back up to this. So I should combine these. So I'm actually going to, because we're looking for fake business names that are keyword stuffed and fake addresses. Service areas. So what are their service areas? What do they have listed as their service areas? We need to make sure we align whatever their GBP says our service areas. We need to 100% align that on the website. These are our service areas. So again, they may want to rank in North Houston. I have to explain to them that's not the wise strategy to do. And sometimes they'll override, and that's fine. As long as you've laid out why it's not smart, they can do whatever they want. So here, okay, see service area Houston. That's way too broad. We would need to say Deer Park, Seabrook, Pasadena, right? So we're going to change that. I would change it right now. I may talk to him first. It's Houston needs to change. Okay, I skipped this one. Are you in the location you're trying to rank for? If they are in North Houston, 35 miles away, but they want to rank 35 miles away, that's just not going to work. That's not a client I would take on. You want to make sure their physical business is actually in the area they're trying to rank for. If not, they're not going to get that local traffic, right? So maybe you can take it on. It's not something I generally would take on. But right now, they are in that area. Our service areas within 2 hours. This actually needs to be changed, say, within maybe like 5 to 10 miles, depending on the business. Just for this example, are they within 5 to 10 miles? So right now, it's too broad. It's Houston. So we're going to say too broad. So this needs to be weeded down to, like I said, Pasadena, Deer Park, etc. Unless they override it and say, no, we want to rank for Houston, then we can say, okay, we'll configure it that way, but it's not going to work. Website URL. Do they have a website URL configured in their GBP, and is it correct? Here, they do. That's good. Do they have products configured? They shouldn't be selling products, right? They have services. So products, good. They shouldn't need products. skipped hours. So hours can be a little tricky because if you mark your hours as 9 to 5 and you're a dentist, okay, and somebody searches for dentist near me at 7 p.m., you're outside of when that business is open. You may rank, but keep in mind Google wants to show businesses that are actually open. So when it makes sense, if you can stretch those hours, instead of it's 9 to 5, maybe say like 7 to 8 or something like that. But in this case, it's 24 hours. Now, this actually seems maybe too artificial because keep this in mind. Google understands, algorithms understand the hours are for a tree service company. If most tree service companies, 95% of them say they're open between 8 a.m. and 6 p.m., and you come along and say 24 hours, Google's going to likely understand that you're trying to game the system. So I don't think I would list it as 24 hours. I'm pretty sure I would just make it like, let's say their hours are 9 to 5, like I said, and extend it by 10 to 15%. So I would say maybe like 8 a.m. to 7 p.m., something like that. So I need to repeat that and say 24 hours, and we'll go back and discuss that with the client. Okay, products are good, it's not applicable. Do they have an appointment link? Not applicable, it just goes to the contact form. Attributes, so this is like stuff that, when I say attributes, I mean all of the other stuff. Basically just need to make sure it's filled out. So the opening date, is it filled out and accurate? The contact phone number that's there, do they want to use chat? Basically it would show up over here as a little chat icon. Okay, and then it would go to a phone. The thing is, if they do that and they don't respond to those text messages, they're going to get dinged. So you need to make that clear. If they're going to do it, they need to make sure they respond. And then social profiles we get to, short name, don't worry about this. If they have special hours, this is more the attributey type stuff. So you need to go through the client. It takes about an hour to go through all this with the client. You can do it on Discord, Asian owned, black owned, all this stuff, right? Accessibility, all these like questions, LGBTQ friendly, transgender safe space, parking, do they have parking, all that stuff. So that needs to be all filled out. So you go through the client with them on Discord, send them, or you can get on the phone, screenshots, and make sure that's all filled out. Opening date. Yep, what's up? Yeah. Yeah, so for sure. So a good example would be like a dentist office, and let's say they offered like dental cleaning and stuff like that, and, tooth repair. But let's say they also offer like a teeth whitening kit they sell at the office for $200 or something like that. Then that's something you could list as a product. So it's definitely the exception more so than the rule. That makes Yeah, yeah. So you go to services are here, which actually I don't think I must have skipped over it. Um, I updated the services, obviously. Services is a huge part of it. Let me make sure I put it here so I don't forget. Hold on. Can't believe it's not on there. It's like the biggest part of it. Okay. Oh, hold on a second. Yeah, that's okay. Okay. Yeah. So if you go here, there's edit products and you go to get started and you do the product name like teeth whitening kit, photo, the category based on your GBP category. Or I guess that is, this shows you how little, I've only done it like 2 times in my life. Product price, product description, use AI to build all this stuff out. And if there's a specific landing page for it, that's where you can figure it right here. I can, that's a good question. Before I answer that question, which I actually can't answer that question, they actually have it. We're in the process. I don't think I deleted them yet. Let me see. I might have. Yeah, okay, I did get rid of them. That's it. I don't know. I'm not sure how many products you can have. Let's see. No hard limit. There you go. Run 20 to 50 products. Yeah, yeah, no problem. But a lot of companies, I don't do this. I like to be as legitimate as possible. Some people will spam their services and their as products to kind of think that they're getting them a little extra search benefit. I don't know if that's the case or not. I don't do it just because it doesn't make sense in my brain. I like to be pretty white hat. I'll do a few gray hat things, but I like to be pretty white hat, and I wouldn't do it. Yeah, that's their products. And like I said, I very rarely do it. I think I've said I've done it maybe once, maybe twice. So call tracking. Do they want call tracking set up to where they can, track the amount of leads coming in, all that stuff? If they do, it's just another monthly expense they have to pay. I never suggest it. On average, you can just look at most companies, and for every email lead they get in, they're probably getting in 3 to 4 more calls. It's 3 to 4 times more calls. So if it's a lawyer and they're getting in 10 contact form fill outs per month, they're probably getting 30 or 40 calls. That's the way I kind of just estimate it in my brain. If they want a monthly fee for call tracking and set it up, you can set it up for them. But and then unless they really need that data, I wouldn't do it. It's just too much of a pain in the butt. Also, it's going to require you in most cases to use a dedicated, different phone number for it, because that's going to, forward to your real number. And now GBP thinks your phone number is one thing, but all these other entities, these citation sources, think your phone number is another thing. So you need to go change it on these other websites. So it's just it's a whole nightmare. And when I do a monthly report, just so you know, this is how you can track how they performed the month. You go to performance, change it to let's do, whoops, December to December, and you can see, this is how many people, 890 people looked at the profile, people viewed the profile, showed in the organic search results, so not in the map pack below it. And then you got calls, how many calls they got. So now they got more calls. This is how many people clicked that phone number button. Of course, somebody could be looking at the phone number and manually dial it, and it's not tracked. So you don't need exact numbers. You're just tracking. If you're looking at the same metric month to month to month, that's all that matters. You don't really need to know the exact number of calls. You just want to look at the same baseline metric. You don't want to change it up month to month. And you can look at like bookings, if they have bookings set up. Directions, how many people clicked to get directions to the site, and then website clicks, how many people clicked to go to their website last month. And there's a monthly report we'll get into some other time that I track all this month to month to month. Okay, so services, and you'll notice whatever you have mentioned as a service, and services fit inside categories. These are not optimized yet. So the cosmetic dentist is their primary category, and these are their services for that primary category. Whatever you mention here, so cosmetic dentist. So whatever you mention here needs to be, let's take another one, for example, dental hygienist. So this category, whatever is mentioned as a service for dental hygienist needs to be mentioned on the dental hygienist dedicated page on that website. Let me show you. So this website is going through all this right now. When Dylan built this a while back, their focus was dentist. Like, we're a dentist in Los Angeles. What we're changing to now, because this is what their suggestion is we're focused on cosmetic dental in Koreatown, not Los Angeles, because it's way too hard to rank in Los Angeles. So we're changing it to, instead of just dental, cosmetic dental care in Koreatown. This is the change they're going through. So our services, all these are going to change to be, ideally, doesn't always work. We're going to have a dental hygienist page, a teeth whitening service. I think we already have that. Implants provider, etc. So ideally, you would have a dedicated, for every category or every service, you'd have a page for each one of the services. It's not always going to work that way because it doesn't make sense and it might seem artificial, but that's the goal. At a minimum, you need to make sure all of these words are mentioned on the website in some way. So if you mention you do fixed bridges, it doesn't mean you have to have a dedicated fixed bridges page, but somewhere in here, you need to make sure you mention fixed bridges somewhere. Now that's a big reason I like using FAQs. Specifically, and we're going to get into FAQs in a little bit, because this is where I can tuck away a lot of keywords and topics, such as keywords, but like topics that I want to cover, that I can't cover up here because it doesn't make sense. And these aren't local SEO optimized yet, and we'll get into that. Let me show you what local SEO optimized means. So do you offer VoIP service in Naperville? So that's a surrounding community, right? So you're getting in that, you're establishing in these algorithms that you're a local authority on this topic, not just the topic of VoIP service, but in Naperville. and mentions other city names. I have this prompt that not only mentions cities, it mentions local slang, local laws and regulations and stuff like that. So it establishes to a human reading it that you're a local authority, and to the algorithms that you're a local authority, and into all that as we keep going. Okay, any questions? Keep going. Are we good? Okay, cool. Services. So services should be mentioned on the intake form. Yep, go ahead. Yep, what's up? Hmm. Yep, yep. Hmm. Yeah, yeah. So that I don't have any of those clients right now, and I don't like working with multi-location businesses because it's not my specialty, and it's just it can get very complicated because they have to have, in order for it to work right, they have to have a physical location in each of those businesses. But let's assume they do. The way you generally would set it up, so you can look at this. Let's say they have a physical business in each of these locations. You generally want to do like a Roto-Rooter plumbing and water and have a GBP entry for that specific one. And then if you go to the website, watch this. So this Roto-Rooter is a national company, but you have a dedicated page for that Houston branch. Now it doesn't always work out that way, but it's not, I don't have there's people who specialize in multi-location like businesses. It's it can get really messy. So I don't even take them on in the first place because it's hard to rank from. Because what happens in a lot of cases is they want to rank in multiple locations, but they have one physical address, and it's very difficult to do that. So I wouldn't even take that on, honestly. If you don't set yourself up to succeed at the beginning by taking on clients that you can actually rank, you're going to lead to a lot of unhappy clients and a lot of frustration because what you're doing isn't working. Does that answer your question? Yeah. So a lot of it is pre-qualifying these clients you're taking on and making sure it's people that you think you can actually help. So I would take one on. The opportunity hasn't presented itself because I focus on really small and new businesses. That's like my niche is like new businesses. I wouldn't take it on in most, I would say without thinking it through, most cases, unless they had 3 physical addresses. And most new businesses don't have 3 physical addresses. So, okay. So let's go back here. I hope that answered your question. Gabby, tree serve, whoops. Let's see what services they have configured. So if we look at their website, it should, in your brain, you should be knowing if let's say we're going to keep all these service pages and not add any more, we need to have GBP configured to say they have a service for land cleanup, storm cleanup, commercial tree, blah, blah, blah. Then all these need to be GBP services. So let's see what they actually have. I doubt they have all those. Maybe they do. Haven't even looked. See, this is where it gets tricky. And there's different opinions on this. People in the community in Google are constantly trying, let's just say Google will go and add services it thinks that you do. And so it's impossible to have pages for all these, right? However, a lot of times it'll add stuff that you don't even do. Like it may say like you're a website designer or something. Let's look at these. Okay, so they only have the one category. So we need to make sure, and there's a tool we use for this, all of these keywords on the page or the tree service page are mentioned on this home page here, or if if it was like tree removal on the tree removal page. Now it doesn't all, if it's going to make it look real spammy and it's too cluttered, you can't always do it. But I'm saying these should be the ideal goals, right? Anything you have mentioned here needs to be mentioned on those specific service pages, but it doesn't the majority of the time it's not going to work out that way because it's too much. But you can get it pretty close. I use a tool called Norzer, which that's outside of what we're talking about here. But you can use even AI to do it. You could say I need a service page. We could take screenshots to copy all these and say create a service page with these categories mentioned in it, right? So like home services. Do they do home services? I think this is really home services, so you might delete this one. So anyway, I need to go back and look at all that. Review. Okay. So Google Posts. This is just something you need to Google Posts. If you look at a GBP entry, this is something, are they doing it? So if they were doing it, you would see posts down here. So let me show you. Now I automate a lot of it. I have a prompt for this, surprisingly. You can see here, for me, this goes out every 3 weeks. So if I don't post any new content, at least I have a scheduled post that's going to go out every 3 weeks. And this is just something that I just released. And I use a tool called Socialmonials. I type it in one place, and it posts to Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Google Business Profile on one shot. Now I think I have the Norzer 52-week prompt. I have this AI prompt. Once you start doing these, this prompt will take your business, what you do, and create a post you can post once a week for 52 weeks. So it's basically every week it'll create a post related to your brand. The other thing I like to do on my posts are create screenshots of reviews that I get. So let's see if I can, I don't even know if I can, let's see. Oops, Norzer. Anytime I get a good review, and I have a few scheduled right now, actually, right here, I take screenshots of good reviews the company gets and I put them in Google Posts. And you'll see these same exact posts on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, etc. So I do it in one place and I schedule it out. So this, at a minimum, shows anybody research your company that you're active. And these are social signals for the algorithms that you're active, that your company's real, that you give a damn, that you know what you're doing, right? Does it really help, quote unquote, rank? I don't know, but if somebody's researching brand, it's sure going to show that you are active and you know what you're doing. But I think Google, it makes sense, wants to highlight companies that are actively using its products, like Google Business Profile. Okay. Reviews. So there's a whole process for this. Are they getting reviews? You regularly need to get reviews, and there's a whole process for getting them, and you need to make sure they're responding to them, right? So when you get reviews, you want to make sure they're personable, mention the keywords if possible, and respond to them. So he has some. He's not doing this, and he has some reviews, but you can see here, the last one he got, I think, was like 3 weeks ago. 9 weeks ago, but there's responses. This one was responded to, but this one wasn't. So you need to make sure. So the way to respond to it is, hey, Culver, whatever, Jadea, it was a pleasure working with you. I hope you had fun at the baseball game with your mother because you talked to them and you know who these people are. So it shows that you know these people. And then I appreciate you hiring us for the tree removal down there in Texas City or whatever it is. So it needs to sound personal, but it also needs to get your keywords in the review responses. So that's a whole other process we can get into some other time. So no, that's what this means here. Get the keywords in the geo info in the reviews. So if you're comfortable with these people, you can give them the review to write. And what I also always do for clients is I always create a shortcut. So if I ask somebody to leave Norzer a review, they might try their best. They may do this. They may go to Norzer and they may go, okay, where's the review button? It's over here, and they can't find it and they give up, right? Get more reviews, whatever. What I always do is I create a custom link /Google, and that goes directly to the review place. It removes all friction and takes the guesswork out of where people need to leave a review. So it's going to take that customer right to this frickin' page where they leave a review, and you're going to see the review thing pop right up right in front of their face. So it takes all the guesswork out of where to do this. A lot of people might have a good intention of doing it, but they don't do it just because they can't find it. So right, so they just come here, 5-star, leave the review, and done, right? So that's something we always do. So did they want to set up messages? He's not doing it, but that's fine. But I will ask. Photos. So he's not doing a good job with photos. So you want to have your logo, your cover photo, and you also want to have non-stock photos, 3 pictures outside the company, 3 parties inside the company, and then you want to take pictures of the team and before and after photos. Especially something like tree removal, before and after would be really big. So he's not doing that. Any videos? He's not doing videos. If that's something he could do for a company like this, that would be big if he has them. Not necessarily means just because it's on here doesn't mean it needs to be done. It's just something we can ask and see if it could be done. Um, Social media links. He has a social media link, but I think he has more, so I'm going to go back and review. And then users. So all this means is just while you're here to help them out, just go here and make sure the people that actually have access to the profile still need have that. There's only us 2, so this is good. But the people that have access to it still need access to it. Okay, so that looks actually good. Okay, so the question. So you can ask, if you go to a profile, you'll see like questions here. You can ask these questions, and I haven't even done it for mine because I'm not really trying to rank locally actually. But you can ask these questions like, what are your rates? What are your hours? Blah, blah, blah. So just answer these questions. And I have a prompt here. Let me make sure. Hold on. It actually got removed. Let me add it back real quick. Okay, so we'll go over this. And then we're local. There's supposed to be a link there and it got removed is what I'm doing. Boom. Boom. Now this is really more for the web building process side of the house, web page building. But I'm going to go ahead and put it. This is going to come up with those. Boom. That's now in the master. So it's going to help you come up with those frequently asked questions. Okay. Boom. Okay. Okay. Is the map on the website? So basically, is there the map embedded in the footer or on the home page of the website? That's all that means. Wait, am I on the right one? Okay. We're at the wrong place. Sorry. Go back up here. So answer these questions, and then you can get 5 extra keywords from Keyword Planner. Don't worry about it right now. We got plenty of stuff to work with. Okay, so kind of at a stopping point. We're gonna get into Screaming Frog after this. Is everybody? Let me do it this way. Is everybody in? Does anybody? Dylan, do you need a break? Can you go a little more? No, that's cool. I appreciate you stepping in. It'll be recorded. You know what I mean? So you can watch it later. I know it's super interesting. So all right. Yep. Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, cool. Okay, Mank, so you showed up. That's good. Do you have any questions, or do you want to keep going, or need a break or anything? Okay, think he's mute. Who's that talking? Okay. Uh, okay. Okay, well then I don't need to ask everybody. Let's just take a 10-minute break. I'm gonna pause it. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is Screaming Frog. Screaming Frog is a program that basically emulates being like a spider, and it spiders and gets all this information. Okay, so the things you're checking here. So you go here. It's a paid program, but even if you don't have the paid program, you can get the free version. And I think it'll go through like it does 500 pages for free or something, which is fine with the type. Like I only work with small businesses. They're not going to have over 500 pages. Most of them will at least. You just start. Now, if you have the paid version, you can hook it into, like Google Analytics, Google Search Console, PageSpeed Insights. You can get a lot more data. But for what we're doing here, we don't need to do all that right now. So the first, let me make sure it's going here. Hold on. Okay, so you can see it's starting. It's real slow. So what we're going to look for, we're going to look at, is a page indexed? So Google can know a page exists, but choose not to put it in its index. Like why? So that's not good. So if you have a really good blog post on, how to remove a tree stump in Deer Park, Google can be aware of it and but decide not to show it as a possible result for searchers to click on. So you need to be aware of that. If you have content that you've created but it's not being indexed, you need to be aware of it. Now there's many ways to figure that out, using Google Search Console or whatever. But one way is here, go to internal, just go to HTML so you're not getting all the CSS and stuff as individual results. Let me make this bigger. So you can see it found this asset in its CSS. All we want to see is HTML. So these are generally all the web pages on the website. These should look pretty familiar. Home page, the service area page, the commercial services page, the tree removal page, the tree topping page, the contact us, stump removal, etc. So the first thing is it indexed? So come here, there's a column to determine, click on here to sort it, non-indexable. And this is non-indexable because it's a redirect. So that's fine, it's moved. So if you go down here, you can see it's permanently moved and it goes from here to here. So that's fine. But what you would do, and I'm going to make a note of this, is go find out where this old URL is, and you can find it on here. So it's on this page, on the home page, and just change the redirect. So it's going to the new page. There's no reason to have a redirect. And this is also a redirect. So you would catch this later. So all is indexed. All appears indexed here. Right? Now you'd also want to look in Google Search Console, but we can get into that later. Now, what's the next thing we look at? Mixed content. They don't have any mixed content, meaning some of it's TLS or SSL, whatever the hell you want to call it, and some of it's not. So I know for a fact they're not serving any HTTP content. Broken links. So there's a program you can use for broken links, which is really good. But you can also come here, and the spider will tell you if it found any broken links. So you go to response codes. Broken links will give a 400 or a 500 error code. So look at it's 500 shows nothing. 400, no broken links. So you can imagine Google does not want to send people to a website with a bunch of broken links. So if there's broken links being reported, we need to fix them. They don't have any, so we're good. Redirects, we just determined that. The other way to see the redirects are to go here, response code, redirects. And it's those two. You can also look at JavaScript. Most sites don't have JavaScript redirects and meta refresh redirects. It's back in like 1997 or something. We don't have those anymore. URLs. So URLs are important ranking signals. So how does an algorithm determine if a website is a good result or not? So if you're ranking for tree removal, Deer Park, Texas, the URL should not just be tree removal. It needs to be tree removal. You need to get just like everything else. Maybe you don't need Texas in there, but something like that. Tree removal, Deer Park. Right now, their URLs are just tree removal. So if you go here, whoops, you go to URLs, and you can see the URLs here, and change it to HTML. Whoops. Oh, you can't do that there anyway. Let's actually go back here. You can look at them right here. Storm cleanup. So what kind of storm cleanup? But this would be, a down tree storm cleanup, Deer Park, right? Tree trim. What does this mean? Doesn't mean anything, right? So it wants to be tree trim. It would be, Deer Park tree trimming service, commercial service, etc. You need to do it with all of them. Another thing that it looks at is page titles. So the page title. So there's a WordPress title on a page. There's also the meta title, and that's configured within those SEO plugins that we use. So this tree removal, this is just like what's on the page. It's not like the meta title, but on the page, this isn't good. You can see what the meta title is here, but also in Screaming Frog. By going here, tree removal Gabby service, this is okay, but what it's missing is the geo. Deer Park tree removal service, right? Same thing, you also need to get the geo and the keyword in the meta description. So what these things are, this is the meta title here, and this is the meta description. Meta title, meta description, meta title, meta description. Now Google can choose to whatever it wants, but you want to supply it what you hope that it picks. So if you go back to Screaming Frog, you can go here and go to page titles, and you can see here it gives you 60 characters. So you can say, are any longer than 60 characters? Sometimes it's going to be over by a couple characters, whatever, doesn't really matter as long as the meaning is clear when you're looking at it. Are any under 30? So this is not good. The home page having a title of home is horrible. It should be, you know, the best tree removal service in Deer Park, Texas, something like that, right? So you need it in the URL, the page title, the meta description, all the image names need to have good keyword data in them, etc. So you can just kind of look through these and see these are all not good. None of these are good. Doesn't really matter, like on privacy policy, who cares? Gallery, maybe a little bit. Contact page, who cares? But these aren't descriptive enough. Page titles. And this is just saying use the GVP category service if it makes sense in the title, because that would just further provide more symmetry between the Google Business Profile information and the website profile information. Meta descriptions. So same thing, meta descriptions. Let's see if they probably don't have any. Okay, some do, some don't. So we need to go through it and get all these meta descriptions defined. And do they have any that are longer than over 155 characters? Any that are below 70, so they're too short. There's a saying I have called use what Google gives you. If Google gives you 155 characters for something, you want to make use of close to all of that. So I would say at least 130 to fit all of your keywords and information in there. Is it going to affect ranking? I don't know, but at a minimum, going back to a point I made previously, it gives context to the algorithms what you're doing and for who you're doing it for, right? So no. Meta keywords, these are like things you can put in code, 20 years ago would help you rank, now it can actually hurt you. So you just want to make sure no meta keywords are being used. So they're good here. So we're going to go and select no. Headings. We now know, or not now, we've known for a long time, one of the first things these like Google looks at and other search engines is to find out what a page is about. It's going to look at the H1, so the first heading, the big heading up top. So you want to define specifically, again, you should know what I'm going to say, you need to put your keyword and your geo in that H1 as well. Also in the first H2 and also here in the H1 blurb, because this is where these algorithms look to determine what this page is about. So here it's just tree removal, and this may not even be an H1. There's a really good extension called Detailed SEO. You can use a ton of different ones that you can see your heading tree. Let's see. So he does have H1 tree removal, and you want one and only H1. So the structure is pretty good, but what's in the H1 isn't good. Also, the H2 ideally should have your keyword and geo in it. So this should be something like expert tree removal service in Deer Park, Texas. And this should be why work with Gabby's tree removal service in Deer Park, Texas. And if you go to the master checklist we use for website design, I'm not suggesting use this site, the look and feel of this website, because it's okay, but it's not great. Hold on a second. There's a sample. So slow. Okay, let me pause it real quick. Grab this. This to kind of show you what you're trying to do. This is like and this isn't 100%, but this is the basic layout of the website, how it should be structured. Close this. Let me get a sip of coffee here. Yeah, laptop's choking. See, we are the best GVP service, primary category in city, right? So now that's the top H1, and see this is the first H2, looking for tree removal service in Deer Park, right? This kind of tells you how you want to format it out. I mean, the website looks okay. My big complaint, my big issue is it doesn't have a lot of padding, right? Everything want more padding. That's kind of get a good idea of kind of what we're aiming for. So look at the headings. Are they clean? Do they have the keywords in it? And are there multiples? Links. So are they linking? WordPress will naturally build these links. You need to have links from your homepage to your service pages and your blog. If you're writing a blog content on how to remove a tree from your yard, when you first say tree removal, you need to link back to your tree removal service page, right? This is a good, I don't use this enough. I'm still working on it to find internal linking opportunities on your website. Canonicals. So we don't need to get into canonicals. This is never an issue if you're using something called WordPress. You just want to make sure that there's nothing crazy that comes up over here. Make sure they're just, generally they're all going to be self-referencing. If they're not, find out why and just make sure nothing crazy is going on. So that looks good. Now this is another big thing here. So look at images. So page speed matters, right? So if you have a bunch of images, the average website on the web, what happened here? I only found one image for whatever reason. Hold on a second. I must be doing some kind of filtering and I can't remember. I don't know why it's only finding, let's see here, hold on one second. What we're determining here is the average website on the web is about 3 meg, okay? If you have a web page that's 20 meg, it's really going to load slow, especially on mobile devices, especially low-end mobile devices with, with slow connections. Let's do this. I don't know why it's only finding one. But I'll troubleshoot. I'll figure all this out why it's doing this. But let's look at Norzer.me. And you'll find all my images. So what you're determining is, are the images, let's see, okay, it's going up here. So are the images optimized? So are they all WebP? Are they all under about 100K? And are they named? Are they image37.jpg? I'm not worried about it. Is it Google Ads lead funnel? So the image name talks about what the image is. This really matters from an e-commerce point of view. And the reason is like image SEO is a thing. If somebody searches for like tree removal before and after Houston or Deer Park or whatever, they might go to Google Images, right? Over in the search of Google, make sure you show up in, it's called image SEO. You want to make sure you show up in Google Images. So you need to make sure they're named properly. Also, are they optimized? You shouldn't see very few images over 100K. If you have an image that's 10 meg and it's on a page that makes the page itself, let's say about 15 meg, that's really going to slow things. So that's all that means. And I need to go back and okay, do they have web pages that are, and you can look in Google Analytics for this, I'll do this on my own later because we need to kind of go through this a little bit quicker. If they have pages that are, unless they're helping establish like topical authority, if there's pages like blog posts that are like 3 paragraphs long and they're not providing any value, just get rid of them. Because the way these algorithms work, they look at your entire site to determine how good it is. If you have one really good page that provides a lot of good content and 100 pages that are like 3 sentences long that nobody goes to, that is bringing the overall quality of your website down and it needs to be removed. Okay. Now the next thing is we go to these free scanners, SEOability.net, and put in. We just want to see if these scanners find anything that we're overlooking. And they might have moved it. So let's do SEOability scan. Okay, I got a message. Ari, Jerry. Okay, what if the, okay, so I think that's the question that Tom asked. Yeah, okay, so that's a question that Tom asked. So it's just, this goes back to only taking on clients you can actually help. That's just somebody I wouldn't take them on from the beginning, because if they're not in that location, it's going to be super, super hard to rank for, because it goes back to the beginning of the top 3 ranking factors are these 3 things: proximity, relevance, prominence. You're just totally eliminating 1/3 of the ranking equation by them not having a physical address. So you just don't want to take that client on to begin with. You're just setting yourself up for failure. Okay, so here we'll type in the URL. Okay, cool. Got it. And these are just these free SEO checkers. It's going to check all kinds of like more generic stuff. I just use these as a sanity check to make sure I'm not missing something obvious, like maybe a missing H1 or something, you know. And the other one I'm going to do later. It's the same type of thing. Oh, yeah, here's the URL over here. I'm going to do check later. I'm not going to waste y'all's time doing this similar type thing. So you can see that you can just look at any results that are errors. Only use one H1 heading. Okay, so I think the home page has multiple H1s. This is a good example. If we go to details, also this detailed SEO extension, not only does it show headings, it also shows you the meta title and the meta description, URL, canonical stuff, keywords, headings. So if you go to headings, you can see, look, they have multiple H1s. Boom, boom. This is one of the first things I would fix. It would be Deer Park tree service experts, and I would just get rid of this probably, or tree removal experts, whatever. So, but we got that. And using alt text for the images, and you can go through all this stuff. All this stuff checks out, so it's good. So I'll just do H1, even though I caught that above. So the knowledge graph is Google's internal database to see. This is just, if most small businesses aren't going to be in the knowledge graph, it means that Google has deemed this brand a big enough, a well-known enough entity that it's going to store it in the knowledge base. So if you search for Burger King here in America, or hamburger restaurant, Google is going to clearly know that this is a brand. See, a corporation thing, restaurant. All the point of this is to see if Google has understood this to be a recognizable brand yet. It's just more of an FYI. So they're definitely not going to be. So I'm going to say no. Don't worry about this. This doesn't always work out. Okay, we're going to go into Ahrefs right now. I'm not even going to explain this. I'll explain it quickly. Who are the competing? What are the competing domains, their competition? Use a tool called Ahrefs to determine what keywords they're focusing on. But my recent take on it is we're going to have to create around certain keywords as it is. So it's kind of irrelevant what keywords they're focusing on. Not irrelevant, but it's not as important now that we have AI to tell us what keywords we really need to focus on, right? But I'll do all this later. Content gap analysis. This is going to help us understand what our competition is focusing on that we're not doing. So if you run a content gap analysis using a tool like Ahrefs or Semdash or something, it's probably come back and say, look, they have dedicated pages for emergency tree removal. You don't have that, so you need to focus on that more. That's what it's going to say. This is kind of the same thing above, where I said 10 to 20, it's 5 to 10, and then link intersect. This is going to tell us where they're getting links. This is something. This is a reminder to me to make sure I start building out backlinks into their website where they have links that we don't have links. And we're going to get into that later once we get to citations. These are just, I could definitely clean this up a bit. So this is kind of goes up to that topical map above. So I'm going to check all these later. I'm going to create link. This is definitely should just be deleted because that's from, we created all those content assets above. Do they have a YouTube video for each landing page? You really have to dominate. So tree removal service. Ideally, and most clients aren't going to do it, we need to have a dedicated video, and we can build these with AI and all kinds of stuff. Because you can see, of course, when I do it, it's not ranking. But if they built let's do a bigger city. Let's do tree removal service. Let's do Houston. A lot of times Google shows up in the search, I'm sorry, YouTube shows up in the search results. Why not claim that real estate up here? A lot of times Google YouTube results will be in the real estate, in the search real estate here, right? And also it's establishing, again, it's increasing your digital footprint. Most clients won't do it, but it's something to ask them and say if it's something we could do. We can help build those videos out. Okay. hanging up. Let's do this. Okay, no, local competition observation. So go look at the competitors. This is just you manually going and looking over stuff. I'm not going to spend time doing it. That they gave us, and also top ranking brands in Chicago, Los Angeles, New York, high competitive markets. Take about 30 minutes and see if there's anything they might have, like a storm damage calculator or something. Go, oh, that really would be cool to put on our client's page. So it's to do your research on that competition, find out, like, just you as a human being, what you find interesting they're doing that we're not doing. So I'm going to let's just go look at one. Whoops, I'm not going to spend too much time. Let's just go to, let's see if there's anything that really jumps out on this one. Residential, commercial, contact. Okay, I do like their Better Business logo up here. That's good, but that's another step. Their phone number up here, it's not clickable, so that's not good. Okay, this is actually a pretty terrible page. So we're going to go to another one. I forgot to, there should be 3 there, so let's just go to this one. I like this, why hire us? Because when you're building websites out, you don't want to describe what you deliver as much as why you should hire us. That's the way your brain should work when you're building something out. Not like if you're selling calculators, not like we use, the best resistors, and the metal's 100% made in America. Like nobody, I mean, that's actually a good selling point, made in America. But what people care about is how it's going to make their life easier. So I like that, but that's covered later in the process, so I'm not going to highlight. Monster tips, this could be interesting. Tree care tips, that's pretty cool. I'm not going to write it down, so I'm going to go back through all this. I like this little form over here. Free estimate, emergency, plant healthcare. That's interesting. So that might be something I would look at. They got videos. That's something else I would take into account. I like the little service area map, right? So that's the kind of stuff that you would write down. You take a lot more time and go through that, right? That's going to be more than 1 minute. You're going to spend about 30 minutes going through all that stuff. Okay, this next step is take their domain, run it through the site Google Dork, and make sure there's no like spam or crypto stuff in there, anything like that. Just do this and just make sure that there's no like anything in foreign languages. Make sure all the pages you expect to be there are actually there. Had many clients, they don't know, but somebody hacked their website and they are running like, like a gambling site on domain. And that's obviously going to bring your site ranking down, right? So that checks out. There's nothing written in Japanese, you know. This is good. Okay, now we're going to go to Google Search Console, which is the dashboard for Google Search. And we're going to make sure all the pages are indexed. And I have a script I use for this, which we'll get into some other time, or I get a weekly report because things can fall in and out of the page index, out of the Google's index. Change it to them. And go to pages. Crawl, there's going to be a couple. Discovered, currently not indexed, which there's none. Crawl, currently not indexed. So let's see. And okay, this is actually valid. This shouldn't be in the index, so we're good. And you're going to see some misleading stuff there because there's no way to check mark it as saying done. So something that was not indexed that you recently got indexed, it's always going to show up here, which is super bad design, but that's the way it is. So that checks out. Everything that they think should be indexed is indexed. And you can also see that by going to site, their domain. If it's indexed, it's going to show up here, right? So if you want to see if the stump removal page is indexed, just go here and look for stump removal, and you can see it right here. So these are kind of duplicated, actually. Okay, so WordPress is said this is actually it's not set to discourage search engines. If it was, it wouldn't be show up in any indexes at all. Is there spam in the Wayback Machine? So go to the Wayback Machine, and I put this on here because this burnt me one time because I couldn't figure out why a client was ranking. Go here, put in their domain, and make sure, if it's a new customer, let's say it's a new website that just got created 2 months ago, if you go back to the Wayback Machine, whoops, and find out their site used to host a gambling website or something back in 2000, just click on a couple of these. Make sure nothing looks crazy. Because if you go back and you see there used to be gambling content or adult content, okay, it didn't work. It doesn't always pick it up. Try this one. Or something totally, even just something totally unrelated to what they are, the algorithm's still gonna, okay, it's not working for whatever reason, but you get the idea. If, you know, a year ago, Gabby'sTreeService.net used to host a website for a baseball park, and that could be a problem, right? Because it's totally related, and the algorithms are still possibly figuring out everything that's going on. So that, I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna go because it's down, it's not working. Are they using multiple domains? You only want them to have one domain. You don't want Gabby'sTreeService.net and then Gabby'sTreeService.com and then Gabby'sTreeExperts.com. You just want one because it's, you want the algorithms to understand this is all coming from one company and that's all they have, so we're good there. Okay, match competitors' top pages. So go to the top pages and find out whatever their top pages are. Like I showed you in Semdash, you can go to top pages, or you can do it Ahrefs, whatever. Whatever their top pages are, we definitely need to have those pages created, ideally. Again, this is something that takes months and months and years to go through all this stuff. You can get a good foundation built in about 6 months. Okay, this, don't worry about this. This is kind of buggy lately. Do they have any of the city service pages built out? So, like I said, tree removal in Deer Park, tree removal in Webster. They don't have it, so no. Do they have the Google guaranteed screen? So Google offers a service, guaranteed, where they can do background checks on your employees, whatever. Are they doing this? If so, are we highlighting? It's maybe it's fine. Oh, did it? Oh, it's been discontinued. Okay, so we need to get rid of that. I'm going to put discontinued. I did not know that. Domain age. So let's find out. The reason we're checking age is how long has that domain been around? If it's been around 3 months, we need to explain to them, look, your domain's only been in existence for 3 months. Your competitors have been on the internet for 10 years. No matter how good of a job we do, just because your website is super new, it's going to take a long time to start showing up in the rankings because Google doesn't know what to think of it yet, right? And they've been around for years and years and years. I'm pretty confident. 3 years, 2 months. So that's not, it's not great, but it's okay. So I'm going to make a note of that. I'm going to bring that up to him. Look, you're still pretty new compared to your competition. I'm going to make a note to just bring that up. Backlink profile. So this doesn't matter as much as it used to 5 or 6 years ago, to where if you had a bunch of spammy backlinks, Google would penalize you. Now Google says it just ignores you. So go into like Semdash. I'm not going to spend time doing it. You basically just look at their backlink profile. Also would signal to me to go look at, hold on a second. Okay, there it is. Your competitor's backlink profile and see where they're getting backlinks from. Right now you can kind of audit with this prompt. And these are just ideas you can do, you can use to get more backlinks, because backlinks are a major ranking signal still. I don't care what he says, they still are a major ranking signal. So what you do is go here. So you don't manually have to really go search where your competition is getting backlinks anymore. I mean, it's always helpful to do it, but I have a prompt. Do this. Boom. Okay, while it's loading, does anybody have any questions? Keep going. We're getting close to the end. As you can see, this part's a lot quicker. Mm-hmm. Okay, so this is going to go out and find backlinking opportunities for this company. So you go back to your prompt, and this you need to run in deep research. So go to your here, type this in, business name. Now it's in your client project, so you may not have to do this. Tree service. the website URL, niche, tree removal, stump removal, say, etc. It'll know because it's in this client project. And we're going to say Deer Park. And this is going to take a while to run because deep research takes a while. So we're going to deep research. And a lot of times it comes with follow-up questions. Are there any specific types of backlinks you want to avoid? I would say prioritize quality links, but give me whatever you think will help generate leads. Do you have a preference between Gov or edu backlinks versus high authority commercial sources? Focus. They are all good. Prioritize links in niche and in the geo. 3. Are you open to doing guest posts, writing content or blog? Sure. Would you be willing to donate services? This is something you need to talk to the client about. Like if it's a dentist, ask if they're willing to donate 5 hours a month to do local charity work or something like that, right? And do yes. And instead of waiting, I think I have okay, I might just let it go and we'll come back. Hopefully I remember to come back. But it puts together a very actually really good comprehensive list. It's not just generic stuff. It really focuses on like if there might be directories that are specific to tree removal companies, it's going to get you in those. Business directories specific to Deer Park, business directories specific to Houston, the bigger city, and then business directories, specific like Texas business directories. So things you probably never thought about. So let's let it do its thing. Hopefully I remember to come back. Okay, go to site Reddit, spend about 10 minutes on Reddit, see if there's any like niche things. This is just to see if there's any topics we can cover. I'll look later. I'm not going to worry about it right now. Is there favicon set up here? Theirs is. That's good. Check the 404 page. So Gabby's treeservice.net. Just type in something crazy. Make sure the 404 page works. And it does. Just a quick test. Okay, sitemap. So make sure they have a sitemap. First, let's check robots.txt, which is a instruction set for spiders. And make sure there's nothing crazy being blocked. And also let's make sure it gives the right sitemap. And this likely does. Page sitemap. So if they had posts, there would be posts there too. So that looks good. So yes. Is there anything blocks in robots.txt? Yes. Or yes as incomplete. LLMS. I don't think the industry is going to use LLMS.txt. It's an instruction set to LLMs to tell them what your website's about, but it looked like it was catching on. I don't even know if I have it still. Okay, yeah, that I thought was going to tell the AI bots what your page is about, but I don't think it's going to use them. So you can just skip that for now. Here's a generator you can use. Is their website secure? Do they have any? Are they using any? Is it locked down with two-factor authentication? Are they at least using a plugin? Now this is a service we offer, right? If they need help, on the website, that's a service we offer. For most of my SEO clients, I end up being tech support as well. So, and I have an agency license for security plugins, all this stuff, so we can do it. What's the performance like? We can get into more detail about what's their page performing like. I go to web page test. I don't even pay attention to page speed insights because it's not. You care about the core web vitals. The core web vitals are what? CSP, whatever the main ones are. I go here and just make sure see how it's performing. I'm going to do NA. I need to check performance, service page. So not only check the home page performance, you also need to check the performance of the service pages. 99% of the time, If the home page is okay, the service pages are going to be okay. If we built it out, we'll know this. So I'm going to go back and check. Is it mobile friendly? Right? So all you do here, see if this is still going. It's going. It's going to take a while. Actually, but go to it on your phone too, right? Don't just trust that the emulator is going to look okay. But here you can see it, but actually go to it on your phone and see. Now it's still loading because the laptop's super slow, getting overwhelmed. See what it looks like. Change the different dimensions a little bit. Let's go to iPhone 12, refresh. You can see it loading over here. Looks okay to me, but again, I'm going to go back when I have more time and look at it. And you can do like a mobile friendly test on here. It's going to show it on multiple screens. But this is just basic common sense stuff at this point. You don't want to ever you have the perfect content, all the heading structure is perfect. You have like a one great H1 in the perfect keywords, perfect entity mapping, relationships, and you're not ranking. And it ends up being because your website looks like shit on different phones, right? That's what I'm trying to get at here. Okay. There's no reason to index WordPress tags and categories, so don't index those. And this is a note to me to make sure the blog content's optimized. They don't have a blog, I don't think. So it's just a note to me to include this into the monthly plan. LLMs really love fresh content. So is content being updated quarterly? No. So when I'm putting together my plan, I'll see this and I'll make a to-do item every few months to go and update like top ranking content or content that's on the cusp of ranking. Is there an author box for EAT? So if you go to the website and you go to a blog post, so EAT is expertise, authority, trust. If you go to a blog post, you want to associate to show that you create. You want to make sure the person that's the expert created it. So what this means is install the author box plugin or whatever you do and have it down here. And also in their profile, you should link to their LinkedIn. So these algorithms can start understanding who these people are, right? So I don't think they're doing that. Oh, in their blog posts, whoops, are they mentioning there? So going back to here. Okay, hold on one second. I got a message I got to look at real quick. Yeah, so we're having internet problems here, so that explains kind of why things are going super slow. So basically, when you're writing the blog content out, make sure you link to the service up near the top of the service you're promoting in the blog content, right? Okay. Yeah, our internet's dying here, so might have to just explain this. Something you could suggest to them to do an AMA that really helps with digital footprint, right? Wouldn't make sense for them, but like a bigger brand type thing. Are they on LinkedIn? Are they on TikTok? Doesn't mean they have to be on all these, but let's make sure if they're on them, we document it and tell them the benefits to getting on all these if it makes sense. Are they using Open Graph? I don't know if they are or not. Are they on YouTube? I don't think they are. YouTube videos for service pages categories, other socials, so there might be social specific to that niche. Like there's social communities for lawyers, right? There might be some for home service businesses, I don't know. Optimize Yelp and their other niche directories. So if they are on, if they're in Justia, look at their file and is it optimized? So we need to look through that, right? Moz local scan. So this is going to help us. Let's see if this is still going. Moz helps you identify all your citations in the different directories you're in, and it'll give you, and you can just search for Moz local scan. And we're gonna start using a tool that's gonna do this for us, a paid tool here shortly, but it's a good cheap way to do it. It's gonna look for how your business is showing up in all these directories, and we need to make sure it's consistent in all those directories, right? So citation. So this is actually what we're doing up here. We're running right here. So let's kind of duplicate it a little bit. Okay, we're finishing up. Chamber of Commerce. Ask the gigantic local ranking signal if they're in the Chamber of Commerce. If they are, added to the website. If they're not, ask them if something they could do. I think depending on where you're at, it's cost a few $100s per year. And there's multiple Chamber of Commerce. There could be one for the city, the county, and the state. See how much they can afford. Are they in niche like directories like Public Square and Mammoth Nation? I'm going to go check mark. I'm trying to speed through this right now. Don't need this. This is kind of out of place. Actually, I don't remember, did I mention that above? This is the GBP. Is the GBP primary category in the H1 with the blurb? Okay, yeah, so now we're getting into, this is basically synchronizing what's in the GBP on the website. This is all GBP stuff. Geolocations mentioned in the footer. So I want to make sure down here, these are the service areas they're servicing. And ideally, we're going to have location pages to each one of these services. And maybe a service areas link up here. So like Happy Roof, the way they're doing it, click on service, all here, and then eventually you build out all these pages. But you can imagine if you have five services in 10 areas, that's 50 pages, 5 times 10, right? So it takes a lot long. It's not something you're going to get done in a month. This is something that's going to take multiple months to get through. And I built this little interactive map, you know, whatever. Okay, moving along. Just make sure you have a good linking structure. Are there external links? Now, when you're building out a blog post, so I will go back to Happy Roof. I'm sorry, let's go to Mizak and Passetti because I'm doing a lot of their blog content right now. Whoops. You want to blink out to very reputable sources. When it makes sense, you don't want to force it, but you can see when I say like probate cases take place at Cuyahoga County Probate Court, and I link to that, right? Is it a huge ranking signal? No, but it helps because you're not linking out to crappy destinations, right? You're linking out to very reputable sources. So add those when you can. This is just kind of more of a reminder to me. Is the call to action above the fold? So the call to action above the fold is this bottom of the screen. Is there a call to action available somewhere above the fold? In this case, they have this one and they have this one. So the answer is yes. You definitely want to highlight any awards, membership, certifications, media mentions. That's all. So were they mentioned at like the Wall Street Journal? If they're like a SaaS vendor, do they have Microsoft certification, Google certification, all that stuff? What labor organization memberships they're in? We're working on this website right now. I mean, this is the old website, so don't judge me based on how this looks, but they're voted best of hows. So we definitely want to highlight. So you can see here in Savio's site we just got done with, Savio Systems, one of their big differentiating factors is they are certified, they are recognized Forbes magazine. In America, it's a gigantic, everybody knows that. So that's something you want to highlight. That's going to really set them apart from their competition. I also highlight that up here in the blurb, the H1 blurb, right? Okay, we're almost done, guys. Do they have case studies? Most won't. If they do, that's something you want to highlight. Testimonials. If possible, hook into their GBP there's a plugin I have mentioned on the master checklist. Do that rather than just copying and pasting. Make sure the socials are listed on the website. Make sure the phone number in most cases is in the top right and it's clickable. I don't know if it is in this case because not all clients want it there. In most cases, you'd have the phone number here and make it clickable. At a minimum, anywhere you mention the phone number, it should be clickable here. Doesn't make much sense on desktop, but it makes sense on mobile, right? Make sure contact is in the footer. This is where algorithms expect it. Make sure their address is in the footer. Make sure the areas we serve, that's repetitive a little bit, are in the footer. Make sure they have an About Us page, a Why Us page. So if you go to Norzer, it's not really what I do, but why. Why? What sets me apart? We're not typical. We work with small businesses only. We take crypto. We're boutique. It's really dedicated. We have dedicated chat rooms, all that stuff. You need to have a page explaining why us. Because if you're looking to hire a lawyer and you're near me and you went to 10 different lawyer sites, they're all going to kind of sound the same thing. So what sets them apart needs to be highlighted up top in the H1 blurb, but ideally also have a why us page. And we're getting super close to being done because my brain's about to melt. Give away something. So this is for bigger ticket clients. I have a lawyer that if somebody does a consultation with them, she'll give them a free tablet, like a $30 tablet. It makes sense in that situation, but not in all situations doesn't make sense. Is crypto accepted? What we're doing is just looking for things to separate them from their competition. Most of them won't do it, but it's something to consider. Make sure we have all the legal pages, and you can use AI to build all this, the terms of service, disclaimer, etc. I think I misspelled this. No, I didn't. Is it a gigantic deal? No, but the algorithms do consider a website that has all these pages to be a fully complete page, right? Stock images. Are they using stock images? Ideally, you don't want to use stock images. I have a good prompt for creating images, and you can get it in the Norzer chat, but I also put it here. I just actually finished it. It's actually pretty good. If you're building out a service page or a blog post, there's all kinds of ways to do it. The Nano Banana AI image generator for pages and posts. You paste basically here, what it is you take this prompt, and it says create an image, create 4 images that go with this blog content, right? You don't want to use stock images unless you absolutely have to. So you get that prompt. Make sure, find us on Yelp. So here's another client that I have, SantaYearRound.com. He's a professional Santa. And this helps humans, but it also helps these algorithms understand the relationships between the website and where they are in other directories. And our internet connection is horribly slow right now. But basically, it just has the badges on the home site that says, as found in, here we go. Right here. Found here, here, and here. And then link out to those directories, right? So if you click here, you'll go to his Yelp page, which we're not going to wait for. Okay, are the hours in the footer or on the about contact page or wherever, and are they consistent with GBP? Let's see if this is still going. Okay, it's almost done. Have personalized FAQs, and I have a prompt here that creates super hyper local FAQ questions, which I showed you earlier. Every service page should have these and the home page, unless they totally oppose it, which some clients do, which I try to talk them out of, but some do. And then make sure there's a map embedded on the website. Make sure schema is being used. That provides information to these spiders, bots, algorithms, etc., about saying explicitly this is a service page. These are the hours, like in code, right? It doesn't like have to like decode it by by trying to figure it out. Post jobs. It's just a good way to get traffic. Post a job, have a job page. It's just an idea. These are websites you can use. This is another little hack. If they can find people locally to click on the directions in their GBP entry and actually drive to their business. Google sees all this data because people have Google phones, Android phones, or Google Maps on their Apple phone. So if somebody drives to your business, that's a signal to the Google algorithm that people are going to your business. So if they have people that can go to your GBP entry, click on get directions, and then drive to your business, that's going to help them out. Can they create an Amazon book? Obviously, a book can sell it on Amazon. I have a couple books. That just helps with branding. It just helps with digital footprint. AMA is on here twice. I don't even know what this prompt is. Oh, Reddit thread. I haven't used this yet. You can look through it. Make sure there's guaranteed mention on the website. Make sure you add pricing information. Some customers aren't keen on listing pricing, but at a minimum, you want to mention range, like pricing range or starting at pricing. A lot of these LLMs really look to see if pricing is included on the page before displaying it in the search results. This is duplicative. As you can see, this checklist isn't perfect. We want to make sure there's no spam, and actually want to do it in Bing and Google. Offer referral bonuses. That's just like a business thing. Okay, we're almost finished. Is there a lead gen website? You don't want a lead gen website. It makes you have to manage things. Get rid of it. Set up a Google alert for the client so they know when their business name is being mentioned on the website. Make sure you're in Google Analytics, Google Search Console. Not only is Google Business Profile a thing, you want to make sure you're in Bing Places, local, Yahoo Local, Apple Maps, Business Connect. These are all citation sources. Let's see if this is finishing up. Get in these international search engines. Not a huge deal, but do it. Are you monitoring your website? If we take them on as a managed hosting client, then that's something we're going to do. If not, suggest them to use a free service like HTTP Robot. Make sure HTTP redirects to HTTPS. Make sure www works and non-www. Make sure it redirects to the same place. Do they need or have a Wikipedia page? This is not, if they need one, they probably are going to have one, and they're probably not going to be working with us, but it's just in there in case you're working with a big client. Don't even worry about plagiarism much anymore since we're building it out. Make sure there's no duplicate content. You can use SiteLiner to determine that. I don't even worry about that, honestly, because I'm the one building it out. UserBob is a good service they can use and you can use to see how people are using the site. It's $1 for every 60 seconds somebody's using your site, and you can see them using your site and giving feedback. Inspectlet, it's a piece of code that sits in the site, and it records people using your site, so you can see how people are. You can't hear them talking with like UserBob, not giving feedback, but you can see what people see. What you'll see a lot of times is parts of your site appear broken and you didn't know it. Ask them if they want live chat. Some will, some won't. Check if they're doing Google Ads. That's another upsell. Do they want Google Ads? If not, if they do and they're not doing it, that's something we could offer. Get them on Just Answer to be an expert on Just Answer. That really helps with digital footprint. It's also another way to bring in leads. Help a reporter out. That's really time consuming. Don't need to get in that, but I'll get into this in more detail. Podmatch. So this is actually duplicate of here. A great way to get digital footprint expansion is to be on podcasts. So you can use a service like Podcast Guest and Podmatch. I'm doing it with 2 clients right now, and they're actually getting to be guests on other podcasts by telling the story. And you can understand how the clients of the algorithms, if they see you on a podcast talking about tree removal or your business, they're going to start these algorithms are going to start to see you as an expert. Press releases is another way to get backlinks and brand exposure. That can be kind of shady. Local advertising with churches, clubs. This is going to go back into this here if this ever finishes. And offering free gift cards or Craigslist to get foot traffic. That's just another sneaky way to get people visiting your website, just so the algorithms can see people visiting your business, not your website, your business, and then make sure you're tracking all your results, right? So are we tracking results? I have a whole template for that. We're not going to get into it right now. But if you're doing all this work and you're not tracking your results and you don't know what the hell's happening, then you're really wasting your time because you don't know what's working and not working. So I think that has I sped through a lot of this at the end because it just takes so long, and I know we don't have 4 days to go through all this, but that should give you a general idea of the things that I look for. So with that, this isn't done. Hopefully with my internet connection, you guys can still hear me. If there's questions, we can take them. If not, that's totally cool too, because I know it's overwhelming. But is anybody still alive in here? Okay. Is that Sammy? You're here, right? All right. So it all make sense? Okay. Oh my God. Thank you, man. Stop recording. Yeah, man. Let me stop recording. We'll talk with everybody here. Hold on one second. Okay, so it's still running the citation prompt, but I'll show you what we did for another client. You can see all the really good back opportunities that it give you from the Chamber of Commerce there near his, and this is in England, so it's, I guess they have Chamber of Commerce in England. Um, the Junction BID, whatever that is, the Battersea Society, that's a community organization. So these are places you can get links. So these aren't like crappy fake links. These are real organizations. So sponsorship opportunities. So the Summer Road Festival, you can go to this website and look about it. It'll tell you kind of like if it's a paid sponsorship, it's not free. Dogs and Homes event. So these are specific opportunities. Wandsworth Fringe. So they have some free opportunities. Local gyms, run club. That's a perfect place to sponsor. These are must-have authority and trust links. So the Chartered Society of Physiotherapy. So does he have a profile on this website? The Healthcare and Professional Council. So that's obviously something you would put on the website too at this badge. This organization, local media citation opportunities, not citation, but backlink opportunities. And then on and on and on. Unconventional ideas. So as you can see, it gives you a lot of good information. So that is it, and I'm going to stop recording, and thanks for watching.